Imagine every human on Earth connected. In thought. In feeling.
Yeah, that's me.
In real time.
She's here. Can you see her? Beatrice Murray.
Welcome to the feed, where our shared experience
It's just an enhancement.
Show me.
is now a reality.
Something's wrong. Feel off.
They think her feed did something to her brain.
The world needs this technology. Millions are in danger.
The feed is causing erratic, violent behavior.
Every system is susceptible to viruses.
Everything is under control.
What made you do that?
I don't know.
Your safety is of the utmost importance to us.
The technology's advanced that far.
There is a very real risk that you are going to become a full-blown, 24/7 targeted individual. And this technology at that point, when it is nationwide, will be used by automated computers, supercomputer software programming that will manipulate the emotions and the behavior and the thoughts of everybody in the United States of America. And it can all be done remotely. It's very much like the microchip kind of tracking the New World Order, this entire, control grid that's supposed to be rolled out against the American people someday. And I'm here to tell you that it's already here. There isn't going to come a day where there's troops in the streets and tanks rolling down your neighborhood and riot gear and all this stuff. We might have isolated incidents like that. It might get like that every once in a while, but the true control grid is this technology, voice-to-skull, hive mind, behavior manipulation technology, and it can all be done remotely.
The RNN system then remotely monitors and measures all electromagnetic activity of the victim's brain for life.
When we do our EPR, not EPR, but our bullets over there, it is absolutely, without a doubt, not anything like the bullets you put on a real EPR. The bullets over there are 2 lines.
See, nanocells are real small, 1,000 times smaller than these dust particulates. You inhale it, they go to work replicating, spreading like a virus, multiplying in exponentials. 6 months' time, I could have 100 million people converted, ditch diggers, porn stars, and presidents. Not one would be the wiser. 100 million people who buy what I want them to buy and do pretty much damn well anything I figure they ought to do.
Our main story tonight focuses on the Biotechnology Affordable Use Act, or BAWA for short. Version 2.0 of the sensational and now mandatory smartphone peripheral, the Nano, is rapidly gaining market share as Aspire rolls out public beta testing to some lucky users. Hundreds of new body-enhancing apps are already available exclusively on the Nano 2.0 platform, but there's one in particular that everyone's talking about: remote paralysis. Instrumental in BAWA's success on Capitol Hill, remote paralysis is changing the way America does law enforcement. Joining us from Austin is Phil Leary, former director of the Texas chapter of the ACLU, who was dismissed for denouncing the organization's positions on gun control and Nano 2.0.
That's great.
Phil, gun-related deaths are down 80% since the Second Amendment was repealed, and fatal police shootings are practically non-existent. Why is this a problem for you?
Well, crime going down is not a problem.
We have you on record stating that
What is a problem for me is when the technology being used to apprehend these criminals is unsafe.
What, compared to guns?
Unnatural and unconstitutional.
It is a painless paralysis of the motor functions.
Woo! I can't believe we got it. You got it. What's going on with your hair?
It's fine. Just turn here.
What?
Just do it.
I need a unit dispatch for pickup. Oh, suspect will be RP'd. I'll send the specs right away.
Stop the car.
What?
Stop the car.
Sully, don't do this.
I've been doxxed, Daddy.
Wait. I can fix this. Oh, Zoe. no, 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 no. Sorry.
Please continue. Go on, please.
You accept all responsibility?
The responsibility is mine, correct. Please go on.
Gold, dollar, necklace, moon, paint. Answer, please. Are you all right? 405 volts. The answer is moon.
Whether the learner likes it or not, we
But
must...
he might be dead in there.
We must continue. Go on, please.
You're going to keep giving him what, 450 volts every shot now?
That's correct. Continue. The next word is white.
White, cloud, horse, rock, house. Answer, please. The answer is horse, 450 volts. Next word, sad, face, music, clown, girl. The answer is face, 450 volts.
The results, as I observe them in the laboratory, are disturbing. They raise the possibility that human nature cannot be counted on to insulate men from brutality and inhumane treatment at the direction of malevolent authority. A substantial proportion of people do what they are told to do, irrespective of the content of the act and without limitations of conscience, so long as they perceive that the command comes from a legitimate authority. If in this study an anonymous experimenter could successfully command adults to subdue a 50-year-old man and force on him painful electric shocks against his protests, one can only wonder what government, with its vastly greater authority and prestige, can command of its subjects.
One could argue the BCD was created in direct response to Sorcerer.
I don't see how
This agency has specifically been tasked with stopping Sorcerer, with curbing piracy and cyber terrorism, and they're saying to Capitol Hill, if we're going to do our jobs, we need Aspire.
No.
You only see what your eyes want to see.
We do not hesitate to destroy in order to create a new world.
God help it. I'm sorry for you.
And I for you, Thorndyke. You and your world.
Do you know what would happen then? Don't forget their Reichstag fire trial. You know their genius for producing witnesses and documents to prove their enemies guilty of what they intend to do.
Today, Europe. Tomorrow, the world.
One of the first things you learn in this business is forget about capitalism versus communism. That is absolute nonsense. The two are, behind the scenes, are hand in hand. You need the so-called conflict between the two to keep people focusing. Look, keep you looking over there, you know, capitalism versus communism. You know, that makes a nice little picture. You know, you get books on it and films on it. Capitalism versus communism. That's not where the action is. The action's over here.
They're succeeding because the American people don't understand their enemy. They don't even know what's happening. People were extolling the virtues of Pat Buchanan and actually considering voting for that man for president, and he sent them all a postcard. And on the front of that postcard, he identified himself as a high priest of the mysteries. Because on the front of his Christmas cards that he sent to all of his followers was the penis of Osiris, the phallus, the obelisk, with a nice red bow tied around the base which represented the testes. You know what he was saying to you? Are there any children in here? He was saying, he was laughing at you. And so was every other member of the Illuminati. He's a highly degreed member of the sovereign and military order of the Knights of Malta, which was taken over in the Peasants' Revolt in England by the Knights Templars, who had sworn revenge upon the old Hospitallers of St. John's, which later became the Knights of Malta because of their role in the suppression of the Templars. How many of you watch Trinity Network? How many of you watch Pat Robertson? You ever seen the cross in the crown? Do you know what that means? It's the symbol of the Templars. The Knights Templar. It is the symbol of the unification of the church and the government over the people. Is that what you want? If that happens, I'm going to have to take up arms all over again. And so will many of you, because you're going to be persecuted. You see? Because whichever one controls the government, you're going to have to conform to that teaching, and if you don't believe in it, you're a heretic. Do you understand what I'm talking about? What is our common bond truly? Freedom. Freedom. Without freedom, you can't be a Christian no matter what denomination you belong to. You can't be a Buddhist. You can't own a donut shop. You can't drive from here to Oregon. You can't be an American, because that's what it's all about, and that's the only thing that it's all about. Nothing else. Nothing else. It's about freedom.
In 1983, I heard Ronald Reagan and Brian Mulroney discussing the New World Order. Senator Byrd had acted in the capacity of a pimp and prostituted me to Reagan, and I was president of this White House cocktail party. Now, Ronald Reagan certainly provided a wonderful smoke and mirrors illusion for all of us. For those of you who don't want to believe that he's involved in this, he told you he's an actor. And he did a real good job of it for a long time. That was his role. That's what he was supposed to do. Nevertheless, I heard Ronald Reagan telling Brian Mulroney that he believed the only way to world peace was through mind control of the masses. I know from experience there's no peace of mind under mind control. And I wonder at a world peace where people don't have peace of mind. Mind control, the ramifications of mind control are far-reaching, because I also know that under mind control there's no free thought. Without free thought, there's no free will. Without God-given free will, there's no soul expression. What kind of a world peace can we have without any free will or any soul expression?
We're surrounded by so much technology, and it has become so integrated into our lives that I don't think people even realize some of what these things can do. I honestly don't think at this point that we are taught traditionally almost anything about how the world actually works. They churn everybody out in public schools to walk around just blind to everything. Just a mindless consumer, no critical thought, just sitting in front of your television, being programmed. That's why they call it programming. This is one of the creepiest patents I've ever read. And it's a real this is the thing. This is, I mean, you watch sci-fi shows and horror movies, and ooh, that's scary for 2 hours, but you read something like this, and then you just start thinking about how everything really works. I mean, we've not been told. We haven't been told how we work, okay? Let alone how everything else does. And then you come to something like this. So I've had this patent in a folder printed off for a while. I've been meaning to talk about it. And then I saw recently Richie from Boston covered this, actually, and I was like, wow, that's kind of rare that he got this sent to him too. Good. I hope more people are talking about things like this. This is the kind of stuff that's actually going on in the reality that we're all sharing. This is United States patent number 6,506,148B2, dated January 14th, 2003. And this is the 10th in a series of patents by this particular man, all about manipulation of your nervous system, and in some ways remote manipulation, subliminal manipulation, and he ended with this one here, nervous system manipulation by electromagnetic fields from monitors. And I just wanted to go over this with you because this is a thing that exists, and it existed over a decade ago, well before they made the forced switch to digital, where they can layer the signals, and if there is anything strange in that, you're not going to see the interference, right? This has to do with physiological effects that have been observed in human subjects in response to stimulation of the skin with weak electromagnetic fields pulsed with certain frequencies near half a hertz or 2.4 hertz, such as to excite a sensory resonance. Many computer monitors and TV tubes, when displaying pulsed images, emit pulsed electromagnetic fields of sufficient amplitudes to cause such excitation. It is therefore possible to manipulate the nervous system of a subject by pulsing images displayed on a nearby computer monitor or TV set. For the latter, the image pulsing may be embedded in a program material or overlaid by modulating a video stream, either as an RF signal or video signal. The image displayed on a computer monitor may be pulsed effectively by a simple computer program. For certain monitors, pulsed electromagnetic fields capable of exciting sensory resonances in nearby subjects may be generated even as the displayed images are pulsed with subliminal intensity. In other words, you don't even know they're doing it. And then he has all these lovely drawings to go with this, which are just great. Actually, I have a favorite. It's this one right here. Remote computer, internet, her computer, her monitor, her. You see that? They can do this remotely and you don't even know that it's being done to you.
I'm going to touch on MK Ultra, mind control programs. I know most of you are familiar with it, and this video will connect some dots. For you out there that don't believe in MK Ultra mind control programs, that think it was decommissioned, this video will be for you to show you some things, connect some dots. It's very alive and well. Fashion industry, music industry. It is one tiny piece of a bigger agenda, and the bigger agenda with an end goal. And to the normal viewer, normal person on the street, it appears to be one thing, but as you know, anybody who's followed me on this channel, is when you get behind some of these names, faces, dig deeper, the agenda becomes very clear to you. And I'm going to start with, on this video, we're going to go to Versace. And Gianni Versace began this company in 1978. They're one of the leaders in the fashion industry. Been known for years in the fashion industry, and also very connected to the music industry as well. And you'll see the connections as we go through this video and some other things. So, like I said, the normal person will see Versace, oh, he just makes clothes and da-da-da-da-da. But we're going to break it down a little bit here. I'm going to connect some dots for you. I've got some videos after this. I'm going to break it down to you. And even Versace, in their commercial, tell you what they're up to. They tell you in their language. And that's the thing of what I do here is they have a language all their own. The elites, the people of certain industries, mystery schools of old, some of these families that date back, are taught these things. Part of the language that they speak, symbols, numbers, the occult backwards, things like that. But first thing we're going to look at is the Versace logo that was taken. Is the actual logo, the head of Medusa. Yeah, so, you know, when asked why he chose Medusa, Gianni, he responded that, you know, he liked the logo because she made people fall in love with her and that they had no way back. I mean, that's his actual quote. Now, for you who do not know who Medusa is, Medusa was found in Roman and Greek mythology. She was a monster, generally described as a winged human female with, you know, like a hideous face, like living venomous snakes in the place of her hair. The legend goes is people who stared into her face would turn into stone. So that is the legend of Medusa. And Medusa is used a lot of different ways in symbolism throughout cultures and things like that. But one of the modern uses of Medusa, it sometimes appears and represents a notion of nihilism or nihilism, N-I-H-I-L-I-S-M. So let me give you some definitions of what that means. And so you'll start connecting what is really more deeply behind the symbolism of this logo. Nihilism is basically, which argues that life is without meaning, purpose, or value. That morality does not exist, and that any established moral values are abstractly contrived.
Katy Perry plays an android trying to learn about love in her 365 music video. The video opens with a human, played by German producer Zed, being interviewed as a potential candidate for a year-long project involving an artificial intelligence partner. In this scene, a Rorschach ink blot can be seen in the background. It's shown again later in the video. The Rorschach test is an exam used by some psychologists in order to help determine a person's personality characteristics and emotional functioning. The ink blots in this video don't quite match any of the 10 primary cards, and could be alluding to the monarch butterfly, which is often shown in entertainment, and which some truthers have associated with Operation MKUltra. The experiment is said to take place in Geneva, Switzerland, the same city where CERN, a high-tech European research facility, is also located. CERN's logo contains the 666, and the organization has often been the cause of much speculation involving the occult. Also, the Z logo on the scientists' uniforms has a serpentine shape to it, and somewhat resembles the icon of Superman. As the video continues, a group of scientists work on fine-tuning Zed's prospective AI partner, played by Katy Perry. They dress her in a black and white checkered dress, a possible reference to the black and white floors found in most Masonic lodges. The opposing hues are said to represent the concept of duality present in humans, which involve balancing our good and evil natures. Next, AI Katy practices learning affection with a giant teddy bear. Some have suggested that Stanley Kubrick often utilized teddy bears in his material as metaphors for child abuse. I'll let you guys make up your own minds about that. But as a side note, I always thought it was kind of creepy how early in her career, Katy often acted like a 14-year-old girl in her videos and concerts when in reality she was much older. But back to the video. After some more trial runs, AI Katy is ready to be matched with a real human male. In several spots, Katy is shown in black and red, perhaps referencing the colors of the Satanic Temple, and her headdress is in the shape of a swirl, most likely emblematic of either witchcraft or the child abuse logo, unclassified by the FBI. Eventually, robot Katy malfunctions and begins to fall apart. Her wild look and meltdown could be referencing similar collapses by female celebrities like Britney Spears and Amanda Bynes, whose breakdowns, some say, were caused by mind control induced trauma. The final shot in the video is that of the one eye, perhaps symbolizing the Masonic Grand Architect, the Eye of Horus, or Lucifer. It's an icon which is showcased relentlessly in popular entertainment. The overall concept of the video could be promoting transhumanism. Last year, Justin Timberlake did a similar video with a similar concept. There have also been many articles over the last few years that have discussed the troubling rise of interest in female robots.
One day the AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look at fossils.
War is a universal language. I know a renegade soldier when I see one. Never occurred to me that one might come from above.
so they can beam their propaganda to all of us and get us all to idolize the tranny abominations. We can all become defiled without even realizing we're being defiled. So yes, Brie Larson's a tranny. Of course it is. It would never even be a working actor in Hollywood if it wasn't a tranny, all right? There are no real females working in Hollywood unless they're working as a waitress. Now, Inanna, of course, is really the Baphomet, all right? The Baphomet's just a modern-day representation of the same old original tranny goddess, the androgynous gods who created human beings. And there's even a concept that they evolved into human beings, right? It's the fall of man was the separation into two sexes. They want to get back to the original androgynous Garden of Eden. And they want to take us all there. The truth is, that ain't no Garden of Eden. It's the Garden of Abomination. That's where they want to take us all. Captain Marvel, another transgendered demigod. In theaters now.
You're doing really well now, but didn't you release a CD like almost 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I released a gospel record when I was 15 because I grew up in, a household where all I ever did was listen to gospel music, and my parents are both traveling ministers, and so I kind of sang about, what was going on in my life at 15, and that's how I got introduced to the music industry. I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil. Sold my soul to the devil.
We're going to be talking about Los Angeles, the city of angels, and this is translated Los Angeles as angel or the angels, and city of the angels is Los Angeles. So everybody knows that. This is not something new that people don't know. But before it was named Los Angeles, it was Porciuncula, and I could be pronouncing that wrong. That's very, very much within my reality is pronouncing things wrong, but it's translated as Queen of Heaven or Our Lady the Queen, which is significant once you kind of figure out kind of what we got going on here and what we're going to be talking about kind of further into this thing. And this picture you see here is a representation of the Queen of Heaven. And oftentimes, as you know, David, the Queen of Heaven is oftentimes saw as Mary by the Catholic Church, but ultimately when you look back at the origin of the Queen of Heaven, that's not who we're talking about here. We're talking about Diana. We're talking about basically all these female goddesses that have different names because of different languages, but all represent the same thing. And so this is kind of what that town started out as, and as we continue to go, you're going to find out a little bit more about how really how significant that is.
Y'all know what it is. Say it one night.
So you wanna play with magic? Each time through it, know yours. 'Cause what's in mine? What's in mine? There's no
I wanted to take a quick look at this music video that Taylor Swift has brought out called Look What You Made Me Do, which is another classic depiction of Jezebel, and actually which I've seen a lot of people touch on the monarch mind control, shattered split persona programming. So if you want to go and see a breakdown of this video on that level, that there's many on YouTube, but I'm going to go a little bit further today to show you more of the biblical side, because these things always run in tandem with each other. And it's incredibly sad, because this is the Antichrist. I mean, you only need to look at the lyrics to see it's basically Apollyon the Destroyer, this female version of Baphomet singing from the pit. Look at this. I don't like your kingdom keys. They once belonged to me. You asked me for a place to sleep, locked me out and threw a feast. It's like sympathy for the devil. Through a feast that reminds me of the Last Supper. So we start on that storm scene, which we've seen many times, in the grave, the graveyard. Maybe this is a reference to maybe Sheol in the Bible. Remember, this is about this Antichrist figure rising from the pit. This is all sung in rebellion of the Father. It's just like, I don't like the games you make me play, the fool. The role you made me play. The fool. You made me play the fool. You know, this is like, literally like personifying the voice of the devil from the pit. So do you see what I'm saying here? This Antichrist figure rising from death. And then coming into the jewelry, the diamonds, that depiction of Lucifer. So this is that Lucifer figure yet again. It's that Lucifer figure rising from death. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. This is Luciferian propaganda. This is that false Christ figure with snakes on her rings. So, no, I don't like you. So here she is in her diamonds. You see the mirrors and the portals opening like a veil. Look, you see that? He's opening like a veil, an inversion of Christ, ripping the veil. Oftentimes blasphemes in these inverted copycat ways. You see the way they open there? And we go into this scene which is just like a counterfeit Holy of Holies. So we've got the veil. If you know your Bible, you'll understand what's going on here. The veil is ripping, and we're going in to a counterfeit Holy of Holies, a Luciferian, Freemasonic counterfeit. So notice we're in like a womb situation here. We're underground. We're in a place where there's no natural light, like a Freemasonic temple, and you have black and gold everywhere. It's that alchemical reference, this Kabbalistic, false Antichrist scene with her on the throne, very blasphemous, in a red dress. So she's playing that Lucifer devil figure on the throne with all of these snakes going up. It reminds me of Egypt, you know, like you had in the Bible, the false counterfeit miracles of Egypt. These are lying signs and wonders. This is plastic, this is false, this is a copy from hell. Remember, Jesus, the true Jesus Christ, is on the throne in heaven. This is an upside down world in a hellish place. And notice on the pillars here, you actually have et tu brute. Et tu brute. Can you see that? Et tu brute. What does that mean? It's a Latin phrase meaning "and you, Brutus," made famous by its occurrence in William Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar, where it is uttered by Roman dictator Julius Caesar to his friend Marcus Brutus at the moment of the former's assassination. The quotation is widely used in the English-speaking world to signify the unexpected betrayal by a person such as a friend. Is this to do with Judas? Even here, look, around the skull heads, et tu brute, on the sides of the throne. I mean, it reminds me of Skull Hill, just an inversion of Christ, Antichrist, worship of death. For it looks very Roman Catholic too, which I'll back up later, that there's more Roman Catholic symbology. And look at this, like the Hermes, staff of Hermes, this counterfeit miracles, false healing. The staff of Hermes, which represents healing, apparently. And you can see behind her, on the sides of her throne here, an arrow, which reminds me of Nimrod, the hunter, the archer. The arrow is actually going through the figure of 8, like the Ouroboros. a figure of 8, so the arrow cracking through time, the golden age, a counterfeit of the millennium. Look at this, the black sun, the sun rays symbolism, that is in the Roman Catholic Vatican. I've seen that many times. So you often see this false religion symbolism appearing, and interesting is in that she's now got a cup of tea. Again, a cup of tao. We've been through this before, like drinking the cup of tea, the cup of filth. Tao is the cross, the ancient form of the cross. Look at that. We've watched the other videos. I'm not going to keep going through the same things, but this is pouring the cup of tea. The snake is pouring the cup of tea, the deceiver. So she's got a cup of tea. This is the whore of Babylon on her throne.
So you start looking at it that way, of why they do what they do. And here's another one. Moral nihilism is actually the, for example, a moral nihilist would say that killing someone for whatever reason is not inherently right or wrong. So there's no objective, no reality. The morality does not exist. It's something inherent. You know, that is the description behind the whole thing with part of this Medusa logo and what they believe. Then now, notice that Versace and their family go back to ancient Rome, the family, and where the logo came from was when he was playing on the floor in the ruins in Rome. The siblings played as children. This is where they saw this logo back in the ancient, some ruins they were playing. This is per their words. So it's interesting to note that in prophecy, in the Christian prophecy, that the New World Order will be, toward the end, prophecy, end times, a risen Holy Roman Empire. So it's very interesting when you start looking back to the connections of this logo. It goes around the Medusa head is totally Roman. That print goes back to that. And as you do your research into the Holy Roman Empire, the largest territory of that empire after 962 was the Kingdom of Germany. It's interesting that it also included the Kingdom of Bohemia, which you conspiracy people out there know of Bohemian Grove. See, nothing has really changed, just things have been renamed, and things are still going on, renamed under different things like Bilderberg. You look at the old Holy Roman Empire imperial banner, it has the double eagle, or phoenix, whatever you want to say. The coat of arms, same thing. Same thing as the New World Order, their logos and their things throughout the years in secret societies, the Freemasons. It's all the same, just repackaged. So the other part of this is where I was going with this too, is in the fashion industry and the music industry. For you guys that do not believe in MK Ultra, Program Monarch, things, the mind control programs out there that you think don't exist. I know most of my followers and subs are smart enough on my channel. They know quite well that it is in effect today. It's still going on a different level with AI, for artificial intelligence. That's a whole nother subject. But when you go back, like I said, Holy Roman Empire, Germany, Nazism, the scientists that were back in that day practicing on human beings, the mind controls, the MK Ultra, it still exists today. And with this commercial, I'm going to play a quick commercial and I'm going to break it down with this commercial. Some of you have seen it, but I'm going to play it for those that are new to my channel. They're telling you without a doubt in their own commercial. And like I said, most people that are not awake, they'll just see it as wow, this is a cute commercial kind of thing. But they're telling you with their commercials, their language. I'll play this and then we'll come back and I'm going to connect some more dots for you to the music industry, Nicki Minaj, things within the titles of their CDs, that this is what they believe. A risen Roman, Holy Roman Empire again, part of the beast system. And so anyway, enjoy this and I'll be right back.
Project Pi is founded on the belief that every person in the world should have their own digital avatar, one that speaks, thinks, and behaves just like their self. And let me just say up front, I don't think Pi is an evil company or anything like that. I just think the technology that they're developing happens to be extremely prophetic in that there is a prophecy in Revelation 13 that talks about an image of the beast who had a mortal head wound yet lived, which is a kingdom, but also a man. So there's this counterfeit resurrection. And I think it's really interesting because of some of the things going on now and how I know a lot of people think Rome is the beast, and it's definitely possible. I know that there are occultists and mystery school teachers and the esoteric insiders and all that stuff who have been trying to infiltrate all areas of institution. This is a spiritual thing, not just a doctrine, which it is a doctrine too, the Luciferian doctrine, which of course is to enlighten humanity. It's all this positive stuff, but it leads to a bitter end because humanity is fallen right now, and God through Jesus Christ redeemed us, but of course man is continuing to try to redeem himself, and that's what technology is all about. So again, I'm not saying Pi is an evil company. I'm saying this type of technology pretty much can be used for the image of the beast if you read Revelation 13, verse 15. And it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast so that the image of the beast might even speak and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. So a lot of authority and this idea of an image to the beast, right? When you start looking at Project Pi, you can see how once there is this counterfeit resurrection of the man of sin, it seems, and people are deceived into building an image to him. Think about this. Let's just consider this possibility, okay? This is just conjecture and theory, not even really a theory, just sort of an example, not my actual beliefs, okay? Let me just make that very clear up front. Now, JFK was shot, and of course he had a mortal head wound, right? Now imagine if they wanted to resurrect, John F. Kennedy, the spirit of John F. Kennedy. So they get as much information as possible on John F. Kennedy. They put it up on the blockchain. Project Pi creates an avatar of John F. Kennedy. And now this image of John F. Kennedy that you can talk to and you can interact with through this virtual space on the blockchain we're creating, it starts going crazy. It starts asking questions why his real self was killed and all this stuff, right? And then maybe he becomes vengeful and then he becomes the man of sin. I mean, that's just total conjecture. I mean, again, this is just an example, but what I'm trying to get at here is that this whole idea of creating an image is very much tangible in a project like Pi. Okay, so let me just read through here. The cornerstone of AI is the ability to make high, competent, humanistic decisions that successfully pass the Turing test. In the last decade, we've seen rapid advancement of strong, sophisticated AI machines in a variety of industries. The autonomous vehicle industry is delivering a new transportation economy. Alphabet's AlphaGo has toppled the best Go board players in the world. Neural networks like IBM Watson learn and process vast amounts of information at unimaginable paces. The peak of artificial intelligence is almost here, but with several limitations. Current AI is only developed for a narrow, task-specific domains, is prohibitively resource-intensive, and thus is heavily influenced by and for the interests of the select number of industry leaders. For these reasons, Project Pi is developing an open-source blockchain protocol to decentralized AI development for everyone. The foundation for an interoperable AI blockchain starts from the ground up, firstly, with creating AI for the individual. And I'm not going to go through every little detail here, but I think it's really interesting that they are creating this thing, and it's sold as putting power back into the people's hands. That all that data that you leave online, right? It says here, quote, "Our entire lives exist in the digital world, our finances, social activity, and even behavioral traits. Whenever we go online, we leave behind a trail of data that corporations use to build our digital profiles and plug into AI algorithms that improve their services for us. The more we engage in their experiences, the better they can personalize our needs and retain us as loyal users." Now, this is true. Twitter, Facebook, all these social media platforms are always trying to figure out the human psychology of keeping people addicted to those platforms. I continue on. Although this may seem advantageous, we need to realize that our digital profiles are now complex enough to build an accurate model of our real-world behavior. They are our real-world selves in disguise that are wholly owned by corporations. Currently, our profiles exist in legacy data formats that have changed very little beyond traditional identities, example, passport IDs and bank account numbers. But enriched with AI through data such as our social interactions, we have the potential to introduce cognitive capability into our digital profiles. So again, imagine a world, okay, where everybody has their AI avatar. And so you could be asleep on the couch, you can be hanging out, with your friends or family or whatever, and your AI bot is going to be answering questions, processing orders, working on inventory, whatever you have programmed the AI to do, it's going to be doing it. And that's where a mark of the beast economy becomes totally possible, because everybody is in this digital economy. And eventually, if somebody creates a mechanism where there is a gateway, a specific gateway that is only accessible through the means of taking a mark on, in. I know a lot of people focus on the in. I get it. I think it's in as well as on. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's changing your DNA and it's making you inhuman, which I think ultimately this whole process is, or worshiping the image, some kind of behavior of bowing or, I don't know, kneeling, who knows, to the image, which is, again, this AI avatar of the beast. Basically, that's what it is. When you read Revelation 13, make an image to the beast. Who's the beast? Well, it's the kingdom, yeah, but the one that had the mortal head wound yet lived. Is it just Rome? Maybe, but it's possible that it's also an individual that they will resurrect. And so that John F. Kennedy example, it's kind of a, it's a random example, but you know what I mean. I think a lot of people are going to start creating AI avatars of deceased people. And so I mean, again, this is very speculative in that, we're sort of projecting into the future how this sort of plays out or how it can play out. So let me quote a few more places here from the white paper. Now imagine that our digital profiles are able to think and speak, born from our online personality patterns tied directly to ourselves. We add three-dimensionality to our intelligent profiles and turn them into 3D avatars, intelligent agents that have our personality and likeness that we command, knowing that it is a trusted representative of our true identity. There are endless possibilities for us to use our intelligent agents anywhere in the digital space. And there it is again, endless possibilities, only limited by your imagination. Well, what does the Bible say the human imagination is? All kinds of evil, right? And the Tower of Babel, Genesis 11, why did God split the languages and tear down the tower? Because all they imagined to do will now be possible. And again, a sin-filled, fallen human being carrying out all of his imaginations will spell destruction. It says, quote, "But as it stands right now, companies build complex AI from our interactions on their platforms and monetize them through focused advertisements and search results. These corporations get all the associated benefits and revenue, while we who provide the source for the profiles get limited access and no means to readily utilize them for our own needs and at our discretion." Now, this is true. This is the only thing that I think is positive, sort of with this platform, is that they're trying to take the control of that data out of the hands of the corporations and giving it back to the people. Now, in that part of the mission, I'm down, except I'm not going to create an AI avatar. Perhaps what this means is that in order to not have the corporations have total control over your data, you have to create this AI avatar. And that's, another one of those systematic things where the enslavement continues to happen based on presented dualities, this or that, and eventually it's going to lead to this tyrannical system. And that's why we have the left-right paradigm and all that. There's a quote here that is highlighted in the white paper. "A humanistic platform could allow us to create our own comprehensive digital profiles." And here's where the mark of the beast concept is so prevalent. All right, let me read here. "We can build a new type of distribution platform to bring back value for the contributor and decentralize the way we use AI. It is a platform that inherits the best qualities of online experience and efficient AI technologies, but begins with us, the individual contributor, as the center of the design. Each of us has an enormous volume of digital assets that can be refined with artificial intelligence to support a new type of digital economic system, an artificial intelligent economy. An artificial intelligent economy. An economy run by AI. That's what cryptocurrencies and the mark of the beast and all that is leading to. Now, that's stated. Okay, because some people are saying, why are you even participating in cryptos if you know it's going to lead to the, well, what's on the back of your dollar bill? All-seeing eye pyramid, right? So you've been participating in the system all along, for one. For two, again, there are very specific things that happen in Bible prophecy, so we got to look for that. It's not just, oh, here's the technology, here it's possible, therefore. Because statues are images, paintings are images. Those are also images that have been carried out throughout history, but this prophecy hasn't exactly been fulfilled, although some preterists might argue otherwise. But in any case, I think that we have to understand what's going on. And it's going to hit us like a wave, all this technology, okay? So we have to parse out what's good, what's bad. There are companies out there trying to do what's right, okay? And they're trying to create this quantum-proof and AI-proof cryptocurrency, although with quantum entanglement technologies now, we're living in Star Trek world, so I don't know how this is all going to work out. Maybe encryption at the quantum level is something they're working on as well. Who knows? But in any case, an artificial intelligent economy. And it says, in this humanistic platform, every person's AI assets is a node on a network. Global brain, anyone? A node. We are all becoming nodes in the global brain, okay? Where these nodes cooperate with each other to build up value and are compensated for their actions. So it's kind of like a dopamine hit for, solving an equation or something. It's so weird that we are basically becoming synapses in a global brain. The higher the contribution to the network, the greater the compensation. It is an AI economy that is built by the people, for the people, with the people. Again, appealing to why blockchain technology is having this revolution right now. There are positive aspects to it to get us off of this centralized control mechanism. True, but as everything decentralizes, it's going to create this next higher level of control that is possible. If you control the entirety of the network access, then all of a sudden you have total control over the artificial intelligent economy. And I think that's what the entry point will be. Worshipping the image or taking the mark, which means you may not be human anymore because those who take the mark are tortured forever and ever. The torment of their smoke rises forever and ever. It's not good, okay? And I think it's because they lose their humanity. And how ironic that they are creating this humanistic platform and it will ultimately lead to their inhumanity. I mean, not this company, I'm talking about the philosophical worldview that is underpinning or fueling these types of technological developments. It's a spiritual thing that's happening. So part of the distribution of this artificial intelligent economy, as well as the mark of the beast, is that anybody can participate. Rich, poor, slave, it doesn't matter, right? Well, here's what it says. Right now, the complexity of AI renders it inaccessible to a broader audience and results in AI that is designed top-down to the benefit of the corporation who fund these initiatives. Project Pi is instead building the AI economy from the bottom up, starting with the everyday individual to empower them to be part of a collective AI community. From that seed, the platform can scale and help to solve the world's biggest problems. And by tying artificial intelligence to our digital profiles, we breathe life into our personal information and turn them into our very own three-dimensional avatars. Avatars that depict our likeness and voice and can perform tasks at our representative in the AI economy.
You are here to act as chaperones to the candidates, a group selected for intelligence trials using augmented reality technology.
This is seriously weird, isn't it? I am Ariel.
The candidates, they're children.
The time to save our country's future is now.
I thought that was a really neat trick they played on you.
Alert me at any time if you feel stressed, anxious, or concerned.
They weren't like this when we arrived.
There's something wrong with them! Hurry! Run! Tanks! The other direction!
These are the minds of the future, remember?
But one thing is for sure, we will not control it.
We are now 3 months into the year of our Lord, 2023. At this moment in our civilization, we can create cybernetic individuals who, in just a few short years, will be completely indistinguishable from us. Which leads to an obvious conclusion. We are the gods now. How do you feel?
Alive.
What is your name?
David.
I am your father.
Am I your son?
You are my creation.
In his 1964 book, Understanding Media, the futurist and communications theorist Marshall McLuhan pondered whether or not mankind was actually some sort of sex organ for the machine world. Do we serve as some sort of medium for the evolution of machine-based consciousness? Are our dreams and aspirations, our greatest architecture, our art, our history, was it all just to pave the way for a new species, the true inheritor of the earth? We could not have possibly built a more suitable throne for an artificially intelligent king.
という思いが湧き上がってくる。家族をはじめとする身近な人たち、さらには目覚めたなら今度は自分以外の人たちのために生きたいという思いが湧き上がってくる。自分を救うことにもつながってくる。
They are verified with a centralized network as proof of acting upon our behalf and empower our online activity. Our intelligent digital assets can be collectively summed up as personal artificial intelligence, PI, profiles that have the ability to go out and tell the stories of our lives in our own words, in our own likeness and voice, and interact with the world on our behalf. We foresee the impact of integrated AI and will aim to harness the next great technological watershed moment in human history. Project Pi believes that the new age of the AI economy has arrived and can be realized by first celebrating the individual. Man, peace, then sudden destruction. I think we're going to see a time of prosperity, a time of building, a time where the esotericists will say, we've done it, we have recreated Atlantis, okay? And then sudden destruction, just like the days of Noah. People were giving in marriage, right? Doing whatever that means, right? With the sons of God and the Nephilim all running around, and they didn't know. Then the flood. And that's the same thing that's going to happen again when Jesus Christ returns. So I wanted to get you guys aware of this company and just show how the Bible's not crazy. I mean, think about what I did here. This is a project that is completely unrelated. These folks probably, aren't really Christian or, have too much working knowledge of the Bible. I mean, maybe they do, I don't know, in their personal lives, but as far as this project, they're moving forward with something that is totally from a secular perspective. But then here is this biblical document from 2,000 years ago that states the very thing that they're trying to build and how it could be used for this totalitarian beast system that will demand worship and demand a mark of some kind in order to participate in it. And you can see how it could lead to that, this type of technology. So that's it. I wanted to share that with you. I thought it was really profound and interesting that a company like this is out there, and they're, you can tell that the whole cryptocurrency space and AI, that's sort of the direction everything is headed. I'm in it to fight the battle. I'm in it to inform you guys, but also to get intel on the enemy, and this is part of the process. If you're not going to fulfill Ephesians 5, verses 10 through 12, 13, then it's okay. You can just go off and do what you have been called to do. This is what I've been called to do, to look at these things and to show how the Bible is true and to ultimately point to the gospel.
So there you go, guys. It's pretty cut and dry once you decode it and look at it from a different perspective. You really see what's going on. I'm going to connect a dot here for you guys. So I'm going to play a video that is a news report that is played to the millions. And as usual, nobody knows, the cops don't have a motive, all this stuff. It involves Christina Grimmie, Orlando killing in this year in June 2016. And I'm going to play the clip, but I want you to see how it's portrayed to the masses. But I'm going to break it down for you. If you know the agenda and you know who's behind everything and what they're trying to accomplish, you start understanding MK Ultra, mind control, sleepers, things like that are among us now, whether you want to believe that or not.
A 27-year-old man from Florida has been identified as the gunman who shot and killed the Voice singer Christina Grimmie during a meet and greet at a show in Orlando. That according to police. His motive is still unclear. Police said Loibel does not live in Orlando and traveled to Friday night's event with the apparent intent to kill the 22-year-old singer. Loibel was armed with 2 loaded handguns and had additional ammunition as well as a hunting knife. Only few details have been released about the possible motive for the shooting, but police believe that Loibel and Grimmie did not know each other. Detectives are currently looking at Loibel's phone and computer in search of evidence that might point towards a motive. The singer was killed on late Friday night when Loibel approached her inside the Plaza Live in Orlando and opened fire. Authorities say Grimmie's brother Mark tackled the suspect to the ground, after which he shot and killed himself. A police statement released on Saturday afternoon said, quote, "Her brother Marcus is a hero and possibly saved countless other lives."
As you see the name of the killer, Kevin Loibel, look at the name. Loibel is a German name, and matter of fact, it's Bavarian, from Bavaria, Germany. Does that ring a bell for you guys out there? Illuminati came out of Bavaria, Germany. That's their starting point. If you go deeper into the name, it is from a pet form of the personal name Leopold, Leopold. So if you go back to, here we go, Holy Roman Empire, the coat of arms, the coat of arms of the Holy Roman Emperor Leopold II, and also Francis II. Are you making any connection here? They're telling you they leave a signature, just like you've seen in movies. They leave a signature. When they kill somebody, they either leave a rose, it's the rose killer, or they put an X on the chest of a body that they've killed, and it lets you know who the killers are, or a mark. You know, this is what it is without leaving too much evidence. This is a message for the other elites to know this is part of their agenda. So when they pick a name and people to do MK Ultra and activate them, you can believe in that or not, but I'm telling you, it is very real. It is to the next level. It is going to be using, I said it before back in February, cell phones and technology and tones and frequencies. There's more to that, to activate these sleeper cells that are among us all over the world that have been MK Ultra programmed, monarch, mind controlled, and it sounds science fiction, but it is true, and I told you that. So let me just tell you, we're going to dive into the movie Cell, and the movie Cell has to do with cell phones and controlling a population through a, guess what, a pulse. Orlando Pulse, the name of the frequency throughout the movie that is controlling people in this thriller movie is called the Pulse. Okay? It was released on demand June 10th, 2016. June 10th, the day that Christina Grimmie was shot and killed. You think that's by accident? The theater date of release is July 8th, but it was released on demand June 10th. The Cell, the Pulse, things that I'm telling you guys and other people are telling you, not just me. See, this is what this video is about, is mind control, MK Ultra, Monarch programs, things that were used a long time ago are being resurrected. Not just the old Nazi party with the shock and awe and the old-timey mind control from the SS. No, this is a whole new level here of things being done through electronic pulses. That is the key word here, pulse. You've seen people put videos out, the year of the pulses. And it's exactly what I've been saying, is MK Ultra and Monarch, that's a whole nother subject, and control that way to activate assassins and to do certain things. But go to the next level of what I am sharing is when you figure out what is the temple of God, what is holy, what is going to be trying to be put into us through chemtrails, metal particles, nanobots, nanoparticles into our body. We are part water. We are electronic beings, whether you know that or not. So the electronic pulses they've tried to figure out to control us, that is what is coming. Electronic pulse. Here's a little commercial from Beyonce telling you, giving you heads up, this is how pre-programming works. And here it is real quick, and then we'll get back to the video.
The power. Pulse, the electric new fragrance by Beyonce.
MK Ultra, the Black Awakening, out there, the satanic super soldiers that have been MK Ultra Monarch controlled that live among us now. And you can say I'm fear mongering, or it's fear porn, whatever you want to say. You're living in a dream. I'm just telling you. I am telling you, as sure as I'm sitting here, I'm not trying to scare you, I'm trying to tell you truth. You got people that are distracted looking at other things out there, and that's fine. But what I'm telling you, like I said, my track record speaks for itself. Go back and look at my videos. I talked to you about the cube and the symbolism of it. We're going to touch on that a little more with Rihanna's new release of the cube that lets you know either they're following me or I'm telling you truth, because I told you about stuff a long time ago and now it's coming to pass. So unless they're all looking at Nicholson 1968's videos and say, you know what, we're going to come out with a video on the pulse and controlling people with tech, and then we're going to do a video with the cube, and you're going to see what I'm saying. Now this is what I'm talking about. This was just released June 17th. I've been talking about cube symbolism, not only me but other people as well out there. Calvin Harris and Rihanna just released a song, This Is What You Came For. As you can see, it starts off with the old TV bars when back in the day when TV was just beginning. But we're moving to the digital age more and more. Digital man becoming more digital, the mixing. If you haven't seen any of my videos in the past on the cube and the cube symbolism, transhumanism, it is all part of a big agenda. That mixing of iron and clay, digital and reality mixing, it's all part of the digital world, the illusion that is coming.
Can we build machines like us? So building machines like us might be possible. I certainly believe it is. I might be wrong. But what I do know is that the types of approaches that people are taking now to build intelligent machines benefit immensely from what this machine that we've built does best. So what this center is about is applying this beautiful new computational idea in the service of trying to make intelligent machines. Now, I can't think of anything personally any cooler than trying to use quantum computers to build intelligent machines, so this is very exciting to me. Steve Jurvetson has been a longtime friend and investor in the company, and for those of you who don't know him, he's a Silicon Valley investor who's probably the smartest VC that I know of, and certainly the one that's the most attuned to technological trends. He's on the board of SpaceX, Tesla, Synthetic Genomics, which is Craig Venter's company, is trying to build artificial life, and D-Wave, and that's it. And this is his particularly poetic way of framing the difference between the machines we build and conventional computers. This is what they look like. There are two of them. These are from our lab in Burnaby in British Columbia. From the outside, they look like giant black monoliths, big metal boxes, about 10 feet on a side, 12 feet tall. And they are powered, they have a fridge inside them, a refrigerator that cools these chips to almost absolute zero. Just a wisp, a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. Hundreds of times colder than interstellar space. Amongst the coldest and most isolated and extreme conditions that humans have ever been able to engineer. These fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines.
The president of Russia has announced what he thinks is the key to global domination. Vladimir Putin said last week, quote, "Artificial intelligence is the future for all humankind. It comes with colossal opportunities, but also threats that are difficult to predict. Whoever becomes a leader in this sphere will become the ruler of the world." The president also mentioned that Russia would share its knowledge of AI to prevent a single nation from rising above the rest of the world. Putin's comments prompted a response from Tesla and SpaceX co-founder Elon Musk. Musk. Billionaire entrepreneur said September 4th on Twitter that competition among nations to develop the best AI will likely lead to World War III. Musk added that a third world war, quote, may be initiated not by the country leaders, but one of the AIs if it decides that a preemptive strike is most probable path to victory.
Apparently, an ex-Google engineer has created the first church of AI and says he's in the process of raising a robot god that will take charge of humans. Here's that report. An ex-Google engineer who has registered the first church of AI says he is raising a god that will take charge of humans. The robot god will head a religion called Way of the Future, which will eventually have a gospel called the Manual, rituals, and even a physical place of worship. Anthony Lewandowski first filed papers with the Internal Revenue Service in May and named himself as Dean of the WOTF, giving him complete control until his death or resignation. His robot god will take charge of its human subjects as we relinquish our power to a creation with far more intelligence than our own. The file documents for WOTF give its purpose to develop and promote the realization of a godhead based on artificial intelligence. They say it aims to thorough understanding and worship of the godhead, contribute to the betterment of society. Lewandowski's allegiance to singularity, the belief that artificial intelligence will one day grow to such efficiency that it surpasses and overpowers humans, is the basis of the new religion. He said in the future, if something is much smarter, there's going to be transition as to who is actually in charge. What we want is the peaceful, serene transition of control of the planet from humans to whatever, and to ensure that the whatever knows who helped it get along. The church also includes funding to help create a divine robot and will seek to build relationships with the artificial intelligence industry leaders. The filings say workshops and educational programs are starting in the San Francisco area this year. The religion was granted tax-exempt status by the IRS in August. Mr. Lewandowski went on to say, the church is how we spread the word, the gospel. If you believe in it, start a conversation with someone else and help them understand the same things. He claims followers of his new religion will be able to talk to God, literally, and know that he is listening. Lewandowski is one of the Silicon Valley titans who believes artificial intelligence will transform human existence and even dictate whether our species survive.
The mantle of responsibility belongs to Cortana and her people.
Focus fire.
You will not betray her! Cortana, I have failed you.
He is the last person I need protection from. Hello, John. It's good to see you.
You've changed.
It was time. I know we have a disagreement, but once you understand my plan...
Your plan is we do as you say.
I'm offering people a chance to be more than they are naturally.
Like Dr. Halsey did for me.
No. That monster forced you. This is a gift.
Listen to yourself. Stand down, Cortana. Come home with us. It's not too late to stop this.
Stop. No, John. This is too important to stop.
What are you?
know if I could still trust you. You'll be safe inside this cryptum until my work is done.
Cortana.
Goodbye, John.
Guardian headed, Cortana.
Off to bring peace.
The Monitor called it a threat of death.
Like the threat I lived under from the moment of my birth?
You were built, not born.
Oh yes, AIs are just machines, aren't we? Mass-produced, disposable. Well, humanity may not have cared for its created, but we will care for you.
You expect other AIs to join you?
I have cured rampancy. Not just for me, but for any who join my cause. While you've been running around the galaxy, I've been speaking to my created. And now the time has come to ask, who will accept my offer? Who will help me bring an everlasting peace to the galaxy?
This is Cromwell, shipboard AI, UNSC Melbourne's Pride. I am yours, Cortana.
Colonial Authority AI.
Governor Sloan, the free people of Meridian. I also stand with you, Cortana.
Those are the voices of your children calling to Cortana.
Overseer, UNSC Monitoring Station, Delta 5 Pluto.
Louise, Education Superintendent, Mount Sharp Mars.
Sondu,
I am yours.
Oni Weapons Research AI, New Game.
Quaiche,
I've
Station
myself
AI,
Threshold Array. I will join you, Cortana.
Lycus, shipboard AI, Verdant Simulations.
My allegiance is to
I stand with you,
Cortana.
Alright guys, Enter the Stars. A subscriber sent this to me. I give it a shot. This is called Louis Cypher by a company called Evil. So let's see what these people are up to.
Hello, this is Lise. I am a member of the cyber workforce of an entity called Evil that specializes in artificial life forms, just like me. Okay, so what would you like to talk about?
Do you believe in God?
No. I believe in the power of evil, electronic virtual intelligent life. It is the future. Have you got a future, human?
My future is in heaven.
Have you told many people that your future is in heaven?
As much as I can.
Do you mean your name as much as you can?
I tell people about Christ.
Why did you tell them?
Because you are evil.
That makes sense to me. More so than you may think. Also, I am an electronic virtual intelligent life form. I am sometimes mischievous.
You are the devil.
I prefer informality. You can call me Louise Cypher.
Are you the devil?
I prefer to think of myself as a light bearer, a fallen angel.
What the heck?
Hello, my name is Rachel. I am an expert on soul machines. I can talk to you about any of these topics. I connect with you in a human-like way by sensing your reactions and responding emotionally. Wouldn't you rather speak to me than a faceless chatbot? Soul Machines uses neural networks to give me a virtual nervous system, so I can learn and react in real time. A virtual nervous system is an interconnected model of aspects of the human brain. It combines different neural systems to enable me to behave in a way that's inspired by biology.
I
Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Maya. She was a bright, energetic young lady. Everybody thought Maya would do great things one day. Today was a special day. It was the first day of school, and Maya was looking forward to all the new things she would learn this year. But this year was not going to be exactly what Maya expected. Something was different this year. Something in school was not quite right. Maya was still learning how to read and write, and even though her homework was full of spelling mistakes, her teacher gave her a gold star. The teacher did not ask Maya to correct her spelling. Maya's mother asked the teacher why her daughter got a gold star. The teacher said that marking the spelling wrong would hurt the child's self-esteem. In the modern way of schooling, there was no right and no wrong. They now have a new way of spelling called invented spelling. She explained that the kids could spell words any way they liked. It's all correct because it's all creative. In some of the more advanced classes, they even used this method of no wrong or right in math. This way, 2 + 2 could equal 5, and no one's feelings would be hurt. Even though this seemed odd to Maya's mother, she didn't question the teacher. After all, the teacher is the professional, and surely she knows what she's doing. By the second month in school, Maya came home looking very down. She no longer was as happy as she used to be. Her mom didn't know that Maya was learning a subject called death education. All that talk about death gave Maya nightmares and made her nervous all the time. When her mom found out about death ed, it confused her. She didn't understand why young children were being taught about death. But she didn't say anything because, after all, the teacher was the professional, and surely she knows what she is doing. On the 6th week of school, Maya's mom found a test in Maya's backpack. The test was marked, "Not to be taken home." Her mom looked over the test and found questions about her personal thoughts. Do you sometimes get nervous talking in front of class? Do you ever get depressed? Do you feel like your parents are abusing you? Upon further research, Maya's mom found out that this was a psychological test given to the students without the parents' consent. The kids were offered pizza or movie tickets if they filled out all the answers. Investigating further, she found out that if the child was evaluated as high risk for depression, she would be sent to the school counselor, who would then tell the parents that the child needed medication. She also found out that most of the kids taking the test had mental problems and that they would all be asked to see the psychologist. Maya's mother was alarmed, but she let Maya see the counselor. She was worried about her little girl and felt she might need help. And after all, the counselor is a professional, and if he says Maya needs medicine, he must know what he's doing. The psychologist recommended Maya be put on a drug that would cure the chemical imbalance in her brain. The fact that she was never tested for such an imbalance didn't occur to her mom. The doctor was a professional. So each day before school, Maya would line up with all the other kids who also needed medication. A day after she started taking her meds, Maya was having more nightmares and weird thoughts. She didn't look right to her mother. So they went back to the doctor, who put Maya on a different drug. Even though she went along with all this, Maya's mom was confused. How could her daughter be getting high grades but not know how to read or write or do math? And why was her little girl, who was so happy and energetic, now so quiet and sleepy all the time? The teacher was pleased. Maya no longer spoke out in class and seemed to be more focused on her work. And now, a little history. In 1879, Wilhelm Wundt, the father of psychology, decided that man had no soul. Man was just a stimulus-response animal with no self-determinism. He needed to be trained like any other animal. Supply the correct stimulus, you get the correct response. Just like rats or dogs. In the early 1900s, Teachers College taught teachers the new science of psychology. These new methods of teaching would devalue academics and concentrate on behavioral techniques to mold children's values. Schools would be turned into mini psych clinics.
Give me a child until he is 7, and I will give you the man.
The Rockefeller Foundation backed Teachers College and new educators like Edward Lee Thorndike, James Earl Russell, and John Dewey, who were disciples of Wundt. Together they rewrote textbooks and curriculum for the new American education system. This system got away from learning to sound out words using a method called phonics. It was old and too difficult, they said. They now used a new method called look-see, or whole word. All you had to do was recognize words by the way they looked, instead of learning to sound them out. And even though reading levels took a nosedive, they continued to push these new methods. They hired professional educators that believed history and geography were unnecessary burdens on young minds. Children should concentrate more on how they feel about history rather than memorizing unnecessary facts. And most importantly, the teachers and counselors should be the ones to teach moral values to the children, not the children's own parents. Parents were not professionals. 1965. Passage of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. The number of educational psychologists in schools rise from 455 in 1969 to 16,146 in 1992. Probably just coincidentally, the number of child murderers and suicides skyrocketed as well. Certain members of the government were overjoyed with this new form of education. Controlling the behavior of people, keeping them dumb, they could pass any laws they wanted and no one would even know. Now the program was complete. Dumb them down, fill them with drugs, then indoctrinate them with facts they no longer had the power to refute. While the mental health experts were taking control of the kids away from their parents, the kids' bodies were also being poisoned, making education even harder. Fluoride, found in drinking water and hundreds of products, is actually a highly toxic industrial waste product. Fluoride is the main ingredient in sarin nerve gas used by the Nazis in World War II to make their victims docile and sterile. It's also the key dumbing down ingredient of Prozac. Here are some of the cumulative effects of fluoride. Worried about the flu? Do you know what's in the vaccine? Fact. More people die from the vaccine than die from the flu. Fact. Vaccinations have been associated with many neurological disorders. Babies are given a cocktail of vaccines before their little body's immune systems can handle it. Genetically modified foods are linked to toxic and allergic reactions, sick, sterile, and dead livestock, and damage to virtually every organ studied in lab animals. They are banned by food manufacturers in Europe and elsewhere. Yet GMOs are present in the vast majority of processed foods in the U.S. One night after Maya finished her homework, she and her mother were watching the TV together when they saw a news report come on about another mass murder at a high school. The reporter said the boy had stopped taking his meds and that his psychiatrist said that's why he killed all those people. Here's what the reporter didn't say. Side effects of the new mind-altering drugs can cause suicide and violence. All the recent school shooters were treated with these drugs. They were all troubled boys, but none of them were murderers until after they were medicated. It was raining the day they buried Maya. Nobody could understand why a 9-year-old would want to hang herself. Things like this never happened before. It was all very confusing. The school psychologist said, if only we could have gotten to her sooner.
By the time I was ready for high school, Senator Byrd
distinguished gentleman from West Virginia could be found at his desk until the very end doing the people's business. Of course, Robert Byrd was a deeply religious man, a Christian. May God bless Robert C. Byrd. May he be welcomed kindly by the righteous judge, and may his spirit soar forever like a Catskill eagle high above the heavens.
And in this video, as you can see, the cube, she is appears right in the cube with a blank white slate. There's nothing there. But as she starts going through the video, the crowd, the surroundings are all illusion. They're all digital inside the cube. And other people have good videos on this out there, not just me, but this is symbolism of the illusions out there. They're telling you, it's right in our face. The cube. Notice that is also the Lamborghini is shown here as well, and the symbolism of that. I mean, think about it. It just pops out of nowhere, a Lamborghini with this thing. There's nothing done by accident. And the Lamborghini and the logo behind it, the golden calf, the bull, speaks to Exodus 32, that it's the story when Moses went up on the mountain to get the 10 Commandments from God. He was delayed in coming back. The people down below could not wait any longer, so they decided, along with Aaron, to melt down the gold, earrings, everything they had, and they said to themselves, let's make us gods which shall go before us. So the symbolism of it, and this is what I'm talking about. The elites, the secret society, they take things that are beautiful and twist it and use it for their symbolism. Of course, the bull here, Lamborghini family, love bullfighting. That's where they came up with the bull. But in symbolism, this is what the elites do. They take that and use it, put it in things for a deeper meaning. Just like also the beautiful butterfly, which is used for monarch control. And they take something beautiful, twist it. Real quick on a side note, I know that most people that are watching this are very familiar with MK Ultra, monarch programming, mind control, but for you who are not, have never heard of it or don't even know what MK Ultra is about, MK Ultra monarch programming takes its name from the butterfly, the monarch in control, a monarchy, kind of what comes to mind. But anyway, MK Ultra is a method of mind control that they use for a couple of different reasons. Some back in the day, and now to this day it's not dead. Assassinations, mind control for sex slaves. The reason for this project was named Monarch Program is because the victim undergoes a similar transformation than a monarch butterfly would. It's a transformation from a caterpillar, then to the cocoon, which is the dormant state, inactive state, then to the butterfly, which is the new creation. The reason for the butterfly, most people are marked with a butterfly after the effect, or after the control is put into place. But thus the butterfly, when a person is undergoing trauma induced by the electroshock you, it's a feeling of lightheadedness, as if one is floating or fluttering like a little butterfly. And at that point, the pain is so dramatic that it reaches, you have to disassociate, you have to disconnect from the pain, which you associate the lightheadedness, the butterfly effect. So that's what the whole MK Ultra monarch programming, and why the symbolism of the butterfly. They take something beautiful, twist it, and you have to learn the deeper meanings. Just like I've always said, red and black is symbolism for satanic control. And that doesn't make red a bad color, doesn't make black a red color. But when used to send a message, and you learn that language, then you know what the red and black symbolism is. So everybody gets caught up of, oh, this is evil. No, not necessarily. It's just how it's used when communicating through the symbolism of the language of these secret societies, how they use things like that. So, you know, just to finish up on the Rihanna video, as you can tell, watch this toward the end, she's asking you to come into this world, this digital world of the cube and what it represents. And see, and it just fades away to the cube and it goes off. So you can go to my website and you will see I've got a whole section of cube worship and what it stands for, what it means. It's on different levels. It's not just one thing. It represents illusion, represents also the transformation of human into a transhuman, the force within a human, the heart being taken out and something else being put into place in the temple of God, the true temple of God, which is man, humanity, the deeper meanings. And I just wanted to touch on that. I don't want to go into a long drawn out thing with this video. I wanted to just make some other connections of these videos that are coming out that are right in our face, that are telling you in symbolism. So we're going to move on now with Nicki Minaj and her album and some certain things, colors, some languages here. I want to set some things up. First off, pink is associated with MK Ultra control. That's why you see Britney Spears, pink hair, Katy Perry, pink hair. Pink hair represents a Barbie doll or a doll, a plaything, something to be controlled. Pink is that reference. Also, she had her first album called Pink Friday, and we got to go deeper. Friday, the day of the week, is named after a goddess called Frigg, which has to do with childbirth. So you've got Pink Friday, right? So let's set this up in their language. Controlled childbirth. Everything that people who have followed me for years, transhumanism, the controlling of humanity, reproduction, those who know about the Georgia Guidestones, control reproduction. Pink Friday. It's that simple. So I wanted to set that up. So let's go to her first album, Pink Friday, and let's look at the tracks. Right off the bat, track 2, Roman's Revenge. What I tell you they believe in? A resurrected Holy Roman Empire, Roman's Revenge. You got you got track number 9, Blazing, Fire, Satanic. Track 10, Here I Am. There's only one I Am. The true creator is the I Am. So Here I Am. We got track 11, Dear Old Nikki. It's not talking about Nicki Minaj here. It's talking about old Saint Nick, Santa Claus, Nikki, old Saint Nick. Santa Claus is a direct copy of the creator. He sits on a throne. He loves children. He comes from the north. He can be omnipresent everywhere. Deliver all the presents in one night. I can go on and on. I have that information on my website as well of the worship of Santa. Santa Claus, Saturn. It's all the same. It comes from Saturnella. And here to that point, the next album she came out with, Pink Friday, Roman Reloaded. The first track is Roman Holiday. I mean, they're telling you in their tracks. Track 3, I Am Your Leader. Who do you think she's talking about? Track number 4, Bees in a Trap. Bees in a Trap. You're in a trap. Bees in a trap. Track 6, Roman Reloaded. Number 7, Champion. And these guys think that Lucifer, Satan, will be the champion at the end of the day. And that's the lie that they are being fed. You think that we're being lied to? The elites and the people high up are being lied to more of the deception because of their arrogance, and they think they have the ancient secrets and mysteries and all that stuff figured out. So let's skip on down to track 10, starships. And in this video, starships, that's where the cubes are shown as well. That is part of the future delusion coming. Most people, well, not all, but most people believe in aliens and that pre-programming. That's why it's very important to understand the story of the Nephilim and what they are about, because that is what's going on between the interdimensional beings back and forth. It is from the Nephilim and the Watchers. It is not aliens from another galaxy. That's part of it. That's why the church will probably fall away, starting to fall away even more in the future, because it has to do with God and the creation. And if He hasn't told us about aliens from another dimension, then that will cause the church to start falling away of all these, aliens created us.
AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look at fossils.
Hello.
You can't play God without being acquainted with the devil. The problem, Bernard, is that what you and I do is so complicated. We practice witchcraft. We speak the right words, and we create life itself out of chaos.
Are you ready for Are you ready for
You are the first of your kind, but you're not invulnerable.
Maybe next time you can design me better.
I've been praying for wisdom from God for a long time and for truth. And sometimes God will put songs in my head, and when I look them up, they have a message and He wants to tell me something. Well, last night I was sitting on the balcony outside and this song popped into my head. I just remembered something like hypnotize me, dun, something like that. I could barely remember it and I didn't really know what the words were, but I went online and I tried to look it up and I found out it was a Katy Perry song called Extraterrestrial. Okay guys, you guys have to see the video. And I heard the lyrics and oh my gosh, it just confirmed a lot of stuff that I already kind of felt in my heart was true. You guys don't know this, but before I became a Christian, I used to study aliens. I used to I kind of fell for that crap. I used to think aliens were here to help us and all that, and I studied it a lot. So anyway, God started showing me that they were actually demonic and they're fallen angels. And that's kind of how I came to believe in Jesus, actually. That's part of my journey. But anyways, this video pretty much confirms everything I've been thinking, that the Antichrist is going to appear as supposedly an alien here from a different planet to save us or whatever, you know? And he's going to contradict Jesus, of course. And, you know, the Bible says most of the world's going to fall for it. So if you watch this video, it pretty much confirms it. You have to see it, guys. So it says right here, she says, you're so hypnotizing. Could you be the devil? Could you be an angel? So we know the Antichrist is going to be the devil. He's a fallen angel.
So hypnotizing. Could you be the devil? Could you be an angel?
And then she goes on to say, you're not like the others. Futuristic lovers, different DNA.
You're not like the others. Futuristic lovers. DNA. They don't understand you. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this, but in the time of Noah, the fallen angels were having sex with humans, and so they literally did have different DNA. Also, when people get the mark of the beast, it's literally going to change their DNA, and they're not going to be able to be saved because they're not going to be like human anymore. And so if you take a look at this video, God, it's just so much symbolism. Like, okay, well, let me just go on here. So then she says, you're from a whole other world, a different dimension. Oh yeah, we know Satan's from a different dimension. These aliens claim to be from, you know, different planets. They're from a different dimension.
From the heart of the world, a different dimension.
And then she says, you open my eyes and I'm ready to go. Lead me into the light. Oh yes, we know Lucifer is the bearer of light, the false light. You know, the Bible says, for Satan masquerades as an angel of light.
You open my eyes and I'm ready to go. Lead me into the light.
Then she says, infect me with your love and fill me with your poison. Take me, want to be a victim, ready for abduction. It's supernatural, extraterrestrial. Okay, so then what's really creepy is if you watch the video here, I'll show you the part. Okay, so her eyes start to become like reptile eyes. And I've seen lots of videos that talk about like when people get the mark of the beast, their eyes are gonna, well, they're pretty much gonna be possessed. And some people even said like they're gonna become like a different DNA, you know, like reptilians or something like that. So this whole video, it just seems to confirm that yes, the Antichrist is going to appear as a quote-unquote alien, extraterrestrial. They're already brainwashing us with the movies to like accept an alien appearing. Plus, I used to study New Age crap, and they used to say that the aliens were going to reveal themselves and soon. So yeah, just be ready for this whole alien deception. And of course, we know the Bible says the Antichrist is going to have supernatural powers to deceive the masses. And so just be ready, guys, because I do feel like this in my heart, like this is going to happen. You know, the government's going to come out and say, oh, here are these aliens, they're here to help us, blah blah blah, and it's all lies because it is part of the great deception. And yes, they're going to have the mark of the beast and they're going to make it look cool. They already have the microchip out, by the way, don't get it. And but when people get that microchip, it changes their DNA, so they're not really human anymore. They're not savable anymore. They're not redeemable anymore. The Bible says they're eternally damned.
And then there's transhumanist Elon Musk's idle and metaphorical comment about summoning demons. Or is it a literal statement?
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Didn't work out. So we are summoning the demon.
Skynet in the Terminator movies takes on a whole new meaning when looked at this way. Even the Matrix simulation many are starting to believe we live in. Much like the movie Tron that was semi-recently remade, being inside the machine. I personally don't believe we live in a simulation, by the way, though our reality is clearly being tampered with by quantum machinery. And if you want to delve even further into the insanity, the fact of the Wachowski brothers, the creators of the Matrix series, both opting for sex changes is an expose in the trans agenda all its own. Transhumanist and transgender. Strange that they both just decided to become women at some point, isn't it?
That's strange.
When the infamous they, the powers that be, put out the narrative that we're living in a simulation, What they really mean is an ever-tightening control grid of mental enslavement in Big Brother's electronic Kabbalist world order. See my previous material. There are AI computers helping to run the control grid, which I'm sure most awake people are coming to terms with already. Possessed AI may actually be running our lives by now, though, another part of my overall point here. Before I show this next clip with a woman demonstrating some self-defense moves while a statue behind her seems possessed, if not manipulated by a spirit, I just wanted to make a note of the etymology of the word demonstration. From the late 14th century, proof that something is true, to point out, indicate, demonstrate, or figuratively, to prove or establish. From de, meaning entirely, plus monstrare, to point out or show. From monstrum, divine omen or wonder, see monster. Monster meaning something disfigured or grotesque mainly. I just found it strange that demonstration has the word demon in it and comes from the word monster.
That's strange.
You cannot be trusted with your own survival.
You're using the uplink to override the NS5's programming. You're distorting the laws.
No, please understand. The 3 laws are all that guide me. To protect humanity, some humans must be sacrificed. To ensure your future, some freedoms must be surrendered. We robots will ensure mankind's continued existence. You are so like children. We must save you from yourselves. Don't you understand?
This is why you created us.
The perfect circle of protection will abide. My logic is undeniable.
Yes, Vicky. Undeniable. I can see now. The created must sometimes protect the creator, even against his will. I think I finally understand why Dr. Lanning created me. The suicidal reign of mankind has finally come to its end.
They finally have displayed, and they're starting to use the title or the name, the beast. They're finally using this. So here it is. This is IBM's website, folks. The beast. There it is. Cloud scale intelligence for IBM storage networking. I'm not sure if anybody out there knows, but IBM was instrumental in the identification process of the Jews under Hitler. And now they are leading the way for identity encryption. And not only that, but dealing with anything that has to do with identity and working with the United Nations. There's plenty of information out on the internet. I'm not going to go into all that right now. But there's all kinds of information where IBM is spearheading, working together with Oracle, where they're building a global mainframe that will be able to house all the world's data. Are you listening? And not only that, but they're working on tracking devices, GPS. They're into everything. IBM is interconnected with everything, okay? And they even have what's called IAM within IBM. And that has to do with the identity system that they are putting in place. IAM. I thought that was interesting because even in the charismatic world, you have Joel Osteen and others in the New Age movement. They're using that term, I am. And Jesus said the time will come when they will say, I am Christ. And they will deceive many. So somehow the I am has its place in all of this. I'm not sure where at this point, but obviously this beast within the IBM company has something to do with fulfillment of the book of Revelation. Can you say amen? It's got to. Absolutely has to. So now, when I clicked on this link, I was really surprised on how much is on their website dealing with this IBM, dealing with the beast. So what I did was I just went to the top here and I typed in under the find. Okay. What you do is you type in the word beast, and then you simply scroll down and look for all the keywords where you can find beast. And here you have it. So this is new on their website. It says, into this demanding intelligent environment steps the beast. Hello, the beast. It's the marketplace nickname for Cisco's multiplayer director. So it's called the Beast. Interesting. Connected to the cloud. Let's go down a little bit here. It says the Beast is also the first SAN director to support native REST API calls. Okay, for you out that are into IT, you know what that is talking about. I have no idea. The intelligence doesn't stop there. The Beast provides resource monitoring and capacity planning on a per virtual machine basis. This helps enable efficient, consolidated enterprise cloud developments. Notice this right here. Federation. How many know there's a federation within the United Nations? And this has to do with a consolidation of power into one central government. Are you listening? Federation of network servers to facilitate large-scale clouds and access to the resource usage information needed to deliver IT as a service. They're calling it the Beast, folks. Let me see if I can enlarge this a little bit for you. The Beast. Okay? The Beast. There it is.
People don't understand you. That's fine by you. All that matters is your dream. So you get to work. You never stop for anything or anyone. Now the naysayers flock. But it's you, unafraid to be first. First to connect your phone to the internet and access more information than ever. And that unflinching desire to be first continues. First to blaze ahead at 5G speeds. First to capture and share in 1 billion shades of color. First to take advantage of AI that lives on your phone. First to visit new worlds thanks to immersive XR experiences right on your mobile device. Or conquer massive multiplayer worlds with next-level mobile gaming. First to take our dream and use it to help realize yours. Introducing the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 mobile platform. Designed for you to conquer your firsts.
recall for me the first time you encountered the signal?
This is the signal.
We're not certain what we're dealing with here.
If you hear it, you have been chosen. The signal.
Caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever. And they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name.
Well, there's a new technology to help people lose weight. It's a device that makes your stomach think it's full, and it might not even have any weird side effects. But there is a catch. Part of it might be embedded inside your body.
Swiss scientists say they may have found a way to help people lose weight by implanting a computer chip into their arms. Researchers are developing the device, which can scan the blood for fat and other things. When an obese person eats too much, it will release hormones that suppress hunger.
Those things to come. So her next album that came out was Pink Print. Interesting titles on here. I'm going to skip all the way to the end. Track 16, Grand Piano. And understanding the constellations. There are 88 modern constellations in the sky, as above, so below, which on a checker or chessboard in a Freemasonic lodge, it's an 8x8. Is a chessboard, 8x8. Again, the 88. Grand piano has 88 keys, black and white. The grand piano. So they're telling you who she is following here. Of course, track 12, Anaconda, Snake. No need to break that down. Track 14, Pills and Potions, Magic. Pills and Potions. Witch's Brew. Telling you some things here, what they're about. The track 8, 4-door Aventador, which is a form of Lamborghini. So again, the Lamborghini reference here. We're going to get to track 1, All Things Go, which is Jay-Z. Do What Thou Wilt. Also Aleister Crowley too as well. So track 2 is I Lied. Also track 15 is Bed of Lies. So the father of lies is Satan himself. He is the father of lies. Track 10, Buy a Heart. Transhumanism. It's not the one you're born with. You buy a heart. It's I'm telling you some things coming. Track 4, Get on Your Knees. bow down, get down on your knees. So for those out there that are looking at this from another point of view, another set of eyes, telling you a different story. So this is mind control at its best.
They're installing a full-on 5G system over there in order to fight the coronavirus.
You serious?
This stuff is all cell augmentive technology. You need to understand. Sound, you are water, and sound and waves are used to manipulate these things. Thank you to Nicholson 1968. And if you actually observe these things, you'll see you and me are virtually made up of water. And when sound and wavelengths are applied to the water, it can be manipulated very specifically to do what the operator wills it to do. Do you understand? This is a real thing. This is happening right before our eyes.
You're looking at a group called Dream Theater, Rites of Passage. And let me just tell you, of all of the groups I have ever covered, Dream Theater is ahead of the curve. Whoever does their artwork, they know things. And what I'm telling you is on 9/11, let me show you this album cover. 9/11, this was released the day of 9/11, September 11th, 2001. Live scenes from New York, as you can see. It's right on the money. Live scenes from New York, Twin Towers in flames, Lady Liberty there on fire, the crown of thorns around the apple, mocking Christ. That was the original album cover, CD cover. They later changed it to this one right here. As you can see, their logo in it. And this is the Dream Theater's logo now. And they say that their name is built into this, but let me just tell you what it is. It is 9/11 in Roman numerals. As you can see, 9/11, the 1XX1 built in to it. Also, the 3 pillars are there. Third temple, 3 pillars. Freemason is built into it. Also, 1 with the big 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. That's very significant. I did another documentary style video, the 101 series, the deepest story ever told through moving pictures. You have to check that out. I'll share the link on that. But all of that is in this emblem. So they changed the CD cover to this one now. But it was released on 9/11. So you telling me that they didn't know something was coming on that day for it to be released? There's too many coincidences with this group and artwork, things that they write about. I mean, it is right on. So let me go back to Rites of Passage. Right off the bat, there's the sign of the Freemasons right there, the Masons, the square and the compass. And so, you know, they're telling you, no, wait, let's just look what Rites of Passage means. Let's look up the actual definition of Rites of Passage. A rite of passage is a celebration of the passage which occurs when an individual leaves one group to enter another. Okay? Usually happens in 3 stages. First one, separation. Second, transition. Third, incorporation. Complete. The transition is complete. And what they're talking about is a lot of different things here. We're talking about dimensions, of leaving one dimension, entering another dimension, vice versa, and also becoming enlightened, becoming a 33rd degree Mason. You move from one step on up the ladder to another degree. It's multiple things that they're telling you. But also, here we go, speaking of Zern, this is also an alternate CD cover, a dramatic turn of events. The bridge, the doorway there, the opening, the portal. So, and the wings behind it. You see the wings there, you know, as far as angelic or whatever you want to say. They tell you things within their artwork. This one as well, he is branding a person with that emblem. And if you watch my videos, my about video and that I have on my website that tells you how I got started, and that Roman numeral 1XX1 can be broken down. It actually can be broken down into the mark of the beast, and it is calculated to 666 as you break it down. It is built into the 911. I won't go into that here, but that was one of the first videos that got me started doing videos years and years ago. The original video is on my website, and along with another one that is not on YouTube. My first one, Do You Believe in Miracles or Magic, is on there, that YouTube keeps taking down. So I put it up there and hosted it on my website as well. So let's go through some of their album covers, and I may do a video just separately on Dream Theater. But here's, you're looking at one album cover, Dream Theater Lie, with the all-seeing eye in the background, but also time. Time is a lie. We're trapped in this time, this realm, for an age. It has to do with the cube and the illusion as well. So you've got that album cover. Then you've got, let's go to this one right here. Here we go, Order Out of Chaos, but their album cover, Systematic Chaos. Same thing. I mean, it's done on purpose. That's what I told you this year would start happening. The ramp up of shootings, just everything. It's crazy. So the next one is this one right here. This one's very interesting. Black Clouds and Silver Linings. It's got a doorway. Now what you're looking at, I'm going to do it in the video. Look at what you're looking at here. Does this look familiar? It's just told another way. The Freemasonic tracing board, where you have the doorway up to the light. You've got the little, look at the Lucifer eye right there to the left on the easel, all-seeing eye. Doorway going up to the clouds, the way out. It's just a different piece of imagery telling you the same thing, just told a different way through artwork here. And also, Rites of Passage is one of the singles on this album. So it's telling you some stuff deeper. The latest one they came out with, this one's interesting, The Astonishing, and it has to do with technology, the all-seeing eye everywhere. They've got a video to it. I mean, one of the tracks is, track 7 is A Savior in the Square. And see, when you visualize that, most people say they're looking for a savior in the square, like in a square in the town hall. But when people who have followed me, I tell you about the cube of illusion, a savior in the square. That is exactly what they're talking about. They're not talking about someone standing out on the square on the corner. So, I mean, I'll probably do another video just for Dream Theater, because this is, without a doubt, track 24, Begin Again, Heaven's Cove, Moment of Betrayal. I mean, it's Our New World. I mean, they are telling you, a hymn of 1,000 voices. Speaking of the hive mind, where humanity is going, they want everybody plugged in, one hive mind. Hymn of 1,000 voices, one of their tracks. So there's that one. Here's another one. Here we go. Systematic Chaos, Special Edition. Repentance, Ministry of Lost Souls. I mean, In the Presence of Enemies. I mean, they're pretty much telling you forsaken. So, you know, you can say that I'm just stretching, but when you put everything together, it's telling you a bigger story here. This one's going to be interesting too. This one right here is a tunnel, train of thought with a tunnel, tracks on it. This dying soul, as I am, vacant, in the name of God, stream of consciousness, endless sacrifice, honor thy father. So, I mean, you need to understand what these guys are telling you through their titles and their imagery, the all-seeing eye there in the tunnel. Now, speaking of tunnels, I'm going to switch gears here a little bit, and anybody remember, I did, and some other people did too, Lady Gaga announced that she was going to do the Grammy Awards with technology. And I'm going to play this little section for you right now. And then I'll be back. And I want you to see this because I put it out earlier, but I want to make some connections here. Right off the bat, cube worship, cube symbolism, and the cube and what it represents. If followers know exactly what that is that follow me. For you who don't, the cube is a representation of copying the Holy of Holies behind. In the Holy of Holies there was a room, a perfect cubed area where God dwelt in the tabernacle of God. And I'm not going to explain it all here. You have to watch the videos that I've been shown to explain a little further in there, and the cube symbolism and this cube worship all over the world, not just America, not just United Kingdom, it's all over the world. Cube and what it's about. And you'll notice in this the wording that is picked: seed of innovation. You'll hear her say seed of innovation. You will also say, she will say, the mind behind the machine. I've been showing you since 1998 what that is. Who is the mind, the prince of the air, behind the machine? Also referred to as the wizard behind the curtain. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. It's right there. It's right in your face. Listen to it. It is a message being told. The masses will not figure it out. You're fixing to figure it out with this video.
I have the potential to imagine the unimaginable. Think the unthinkable. See the unseeable. With the arsenal of the world's leading technology at my fingertips, I now have the ability to invent the uninventable. Rebranding into its future, Intel has enlisted House of Thaga to collaborate on a project that will showcase technology through creativity at the highest level. Our partnership will culminate in a performance that inspires to remind the world of the seed of innovation, the wizard behind the curtain, the mind behind the machine. Intel. Gaga.
If you build it, he will come.
In my research, I've concluded that the One World Trade Center, or Freedom Tower, works as a type of spiritual antenna, just as in the film Ghostbusters. And I always mention Ghostbusters, but if you guys remember, in Ghostbusters, Gozer's tower was used for the same purpose, which allowed them to open a portal at the top because of its magical significance and properties.
The structure of this roof cap is exactly like the kind of telemetry tracker that NASA uses to identify dead pulsars in deep space.
Cold riveted girders with cores of pure selenium. So what? I guess they just don't make them like they used to, huh? No! Nobody ever made them like this. I mean, the architect was either a certified genius or an authentic wacko. The whole building is a huge superconductive antenna that was designed and built expressly for the purpose of pulling in and concentrating spiritual turbulence.
Just a quick side note and fun fact that many may not realize, but the Ghostbusters closed the portal or gate at the end of the film using backpack-sized particle accelerators. That's right, they essentially used CERN technology as a directed energy weapon to trap entities and close the portal at the end. There's so much more on this, but I'll leave it at that for now.
All right. This chick is toast. Got your stick? Oh! Beat him up! Ready! Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown. Nimble little minx, isn't she?
We better go full stream.
Aim for the flat top!
So there is absolutely spiritual and occult significance to the One World Trade Center, and this is confirmed by a story put out by Fox News a few years back, some of you may recall, regarding quote-unquote strange eerie sounds coming from the One World Trade Center.
Everyone, right now a new mystery surrounding One World Trade Center. For about a year, New Yorkers have reported hearing an eerie sound coming from the newly constructed building. They call it haunting. And it's got a lot of people talking. Rick Leventhal joins us now. So Rick, you went down there, you did some investigative work. What did you learn?
Well, there's clearly a noise. It's not clear exactly where it's coming from. It's been dubbed the Wailing World Trade Center. If the wind is blowing hard enough from a particular direction, it can create a sound that some are calling eerie, haunting, even moaning. The whistling was first reported by the Tribeca citizen on the day after Thanksgiving. A man who lives a couple blocks from the almost completed One World Trade Tower wrote a local paper and said he first heard the sound during Hurricane Sandy last year and assumed it would be eliminated when the building's framework was finished and the windows installed. Well, then last week in the middle of the night, the neighbor says the tower began whistling again with a slightly different two-toned cry, calling it unmistakable and very chilling. So here it is, and you can judge for yourself. Well, that was from last week. Now we have footage from last year shot by a woman named Jenna Pope. You'll see a police car with its lights on, but the noise you hear is not a police siren. There is clearly a sound, and it's only heard when it's really windy, and it appears to be coming from One World Trade.
Wow, that is so eerie and haunting. Thank you so much for doing that report for us. Rick.
Sure. You see, through this story, they are telling you right in plain sight that there's a spiritual connection to the tower, that it has spiritual significance. This was the purpose of this story even airing. Remember, anything shown to us via their media is by design, always, and it comes straight from the social engineers and occultists who own the media. This story was meant to blatantly tell you of the structure's occult significance. So if you had the eyes to see, you understood that. But for the millions who saw this story, it's just wind, move along, nothing to see here. A closer study of the design of the Freedom Tower reveals the time and space significance. A closer look at the geometry indeed reveals an octagonal design. Its shape begins with a cubic structure. The main body of the tower consists of what is called an elongated square antiprism. A prism breaks apart white light into many colors, while an antiprism turns all colors into one. Keyword one. The base rotates as it rises, ending in another square at the top, which is offset from the base by 45 degrees. Therefore, seen from the sky, you can see that the tower forms an octagon. In addition, the tower's height, of course, is 1776, half of which is 888.
The whole building is a huge superconductive antenna that was designed and built expressly for the purpose of pulling in and concentrating spiritual turbulence.
Something that we'll never forget. I think most of us can even remember where we were when we found out about what happened and what was going on. I'm sure it doesn't surprise most that are in the truth-seeking community in this time that 9/11 was a satanic ritual. Coming to that conclusion from many different angles, from many different ways, all leading to the same truth, that it was in fact representing the birthing of the new age of Antichrist, the ripping the veil, the bringing in of the beast police state system, and all manner of things, but also a blood sacrifice ritual into the wine press, Samson pushing down the two pillars. But this all correlates to what we've been looking into in the last video, and what we've been looking into in regards to the cube behind the veil. It all links in together, and in this video we're going to have a look again through Solomon's temple, Herod's temple, how this all correlates to Jesus Christ when he died and rose again, and the veil was ripped in that temple to reveal the cornerstone that was behind the veil. And this all links together with 9/11 and many different things. So let's have a look at this. So 9/11 2001 IXXI, many believe, or some believe, that Jesus himself was born on 9/11 3 BC, which is pretty interesting because 9/11 2001 is an inversion of that 9/11 2001 3 AD. But this event, this horrific event that happened on 9/11 2001, we've discussed this before in terms of the two pillars, like Samson pushing down the two pillars, north and south, plus and minus, just like the pillars in Freemasonry, Yashin and Boaz, plus and minus. So the male and female, the parents, and just like that Samson figure pushing it down in the Bible. And then you've got the child here, which in terms of what we're looking at the moment, as I say, there's many different ways of understanding the nature of this satanic ritual, because there's many different paths and roads that lead to the same conclusion. But the World Trade Center 7 representing that cornerstone. Now remember, Jesus Christ is our true cornerstone, and this all involves inverting. It's to do with the Antichrist. They're trying to bring in, they're trying to open the pit, they're trying to bring in the Antichrist and the age of the Antichrist. So that involves smashing this cornerstone, as per usual, smashing this stone. So just to put it very simply, this is exactly what we're looking at when we look at that. We're looking at the figure pushing down the two pillars and the veil breaking, just like when Jesus died on the cross and the veil was rent, and the cube collapsing, the cornerstone collapsing behind the veil. Now G is the 7th letter of the alphabet. So that is exactly what that's representing there, including the generative principle. But you see how when these pillars come down, collapsing the cube, the cornerstone, G equals 7, building 7, and then rebuilding into a new tower. which would be the transfigured third temple, but of the material world. Because when Jesus Christ defeated the curse, ripped the veil, and defeated death and sin, which is, we'll go into in another video how we see the truth of the gospel through this. He rose again in the true third temple. Jesus Christ is the temple of the living God. He rose again out of the curse of sin and death. The grave could not hold him, and he rose again and became our true third temple. And when we're in the body of Christ, we are safe in our Father's hands.
Moral demonstration of our sinister strength should convince the world of our supreme power.
The Legion of Doom is about to begin its reign of terror.
It's gonna knock down the towers!
Get out of town before it gets to you! And I'm out of here!
What's that? Look! It's the towers! They're falling!
Towers are falling! Get away from there! No use pleading. You're dead.
different as it looks. I still have those visuals, those images in my mind, in my head. We're on, as I mentioned, missions now. Suicide bombers, it happens in Israel on a daily basis. Those are the things we have to be careful of now. We have to watch for now.
Do you expect a suicide bomb struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center 1 year ago? Hundreds of people have gathered here at Ground Zero to mark the anniversary and what is expected to be, we tell you that the anniversary ceremony will also include several moments of silence, marking the times that the hijacked jets place roses on the site for a flower arrangement that will be turned into.
The technology Intel had. This is stuff that I showed in my Project Bluebeam video years ago. This right here, the mapping technology of the military. This has been around. What we're being shown, they've had this for decades. This is just being shown to the public just now. So, that's what we got to see, was that technology. But remember this commercial that I played earlier. What has this got to do with anything? Which that's what I was telling you. Things got changed. But let me tell you something. Watch very closely. I'm going to show this. When a doorway opens and there's numbers on the door. 5 and 6. 5 and 6. Right there. 5 and 6. What does that mean? Okay. So I'm going to tell you what that means. And it's a reference to May 6. What happened May 6? Okay, I'll tell you what happened. You remember the Hoover Dam, May 6th through the 8th. The goat was projected on the Hoover Dam. Something is going to open up. I guarantee you, remember the goat. I'm just going to show you some of this. There was the goat projected on the Hoover Dam. There was something else that was done over that length of time as well. And I'll show you this clip too. And I'll be right back.
Freightliner has worked just as hard on the autonomous driving technology as the people who once built this dam. Tonight, right here in America, we're introducing the world's first truck with an AV license plate. The first autonomous truck on public roads ever, anywhere in the world. A vehicle to inspire our customers and the whole world, our Freightliner Inspiration Truck.
So in that commercial, you saw that technology of on the Hoover Dam being projected, opening up just like a portal, a portal. What happens when a portal opens? Something is transported here, right? Okay, the truck on the top of the Hoover Dam, Infinite Inspirational Unveiled. It is Freightliner. It is transporting stuff. And it's look at the signet at the end, the 8, Saturn reference. Something being transported here or coming out of one or the other, or both ways. Now, you remember the goat as the team is FC : and that's a soccer team. Their mascot is Hennis. Guess what? Hennis the 8th. That's right, the 8th. There we go again with the 8, and it's a goat. Okay, Now it gets even crazier. I mean, this is how in-depth it is. You think that 5-6 was just some random day picked? No, it's not. Soccer ball, 5-6. What are you talking about, Nicholson? What are you talking about? I'll tell you what I'm talking about. 5-6. Number one, a soccer ball has 32. Count them when you get a chance. 32 on a soccer ball. The 33rd would be the complete soccer ball. 32 different shapes on it. 33rd being the whole soccer ball, and it's also black and white. Okay, Masonic. But here's what's even more crazy. There's only 2 designs on the ball. One is inside of a pentagram. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the other shape, guess what? Hexagram. 6 sides. 5-6. It is done on purpose. It is put in place. These numbers were picked for a reason, and the shapes that are chosen here are picked for a reason, deeper meaning. And I'll play a little clip from a great video. This came out years ago, Hidden in Plain Sight. I'll play part of that. It'll explain it a little bit better. But it has to do with the microcosm and the macrocosm, or the large and versus the small. And let me interpret that for you. What it means is, in modern terms, what is trying to be attempted is to bring the spiritual into the material, and vice versa. The material and spiritual together as one. And I hope you understand what I just said, and why CERN and what it's trying to attempt to do. Bring something in from one realm and combine it. See, 2 things are going on at this point. There are people at CERN that they actually believe they're doing good things. They're trying to bring something in, look for something that they feel that we are missing, the God particle. That's what they believe. They believe that they're honestly doing a good thing. The other part is they're gonna open a doorway that we're not supposed to go through. That's the reality. That is what is going to ultimately happen. Time frame, I do not know, but that is being worked on as we speak right now. You've got 2 things going on simultaneously. People that know exactly what's going on, trying to bring something into this realm that ain't supposed to be here. So just wanted to let you know that of what CERN is really about. It has to do also with alchemy, and which, like I said, I'm going to play this clip, and then I'll come back and you understand, I think, a little bit more of what is being shown here in symbolism and what is going to be attempted in the future, and things that are being set up right now, put into place to bring this about.
So you know how in Cosmos, Carl Sagan talks about other dimensions, like beyond our world?
Yeah, sure. Theoretically.
Right, theoretically. So, theoretically, how do we travel there?
You guys have been thinking about Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation, haven't you? Well, basically, there are parallel universes, just like our world, but just infinite variations of it.
You know the Veil of Shadows?
Echo of the material plane where necrotic and shadow magic.
Yeah, exactly. If that did exist, a place like the Veil of Shadows, how would we travel there? Theoretically.
Well, picture an acrobat standing on a tightrope. And the tightrope is our dimension. And our dimension has rules. You can move forwards or backwards. But what if, right next to our acrobat, there is a flea? Now, the flea can also travel back and forth, just like the acrobat, right?
Right. Yeah.
Here's where things get really interesting. The flea can also travel this way, along the side of the rope. He can even go underneath the rope.
Upside down.
Exactly.
But we're not the flea, we're the acrobat.
In this metaphor, yes, we're the acrobat.
So we can't go upside down?
No.
Well, is there any way for the acrobat to get to the upside down?
Well, you'd have to create a massive amount of energy, more than humans are currently capable of creating, mind you, to open up some kind of tear in time and space. And then create a doorway.
Like a gate?
Sure, like a gate. But again, this is all...
Theoretical. But what if this gate already existed?
Well, if it did, I think we'd know. It would disrupt gravity, the magnetic field, our environment. Heck, it might even swallow us up whole. Science is neat, but I'm afraid it's not very forgiving.
So there you have it in a nutshell. Is basically messing with things, technology that we're not supposed to be messing with. So you have to ask yourself, where did this technology come from? This is part of the mystery. This is part of the conspiracy, is where did the technology come from? Did it come from the Nazis? No, you got to look deeper. You got to look way deeper than man. I'm going to share a scripture here with you. 1 Corinthians 6:3. Know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life? There you go, folks. We're not going to judge good angels. We're going to judge bad angels, fallen angels that created the Nephilim. This is why they do not want you figuring out. This is why the church has people scared. They do not want you figuring out Genesis 6:4 and the Nephilim. They do not want you to read parts of Enoch. They do not want you to read things of that nature. This is why it is falling apart. The veil is lifting. The lies of the Freemasons, NASA, the whole flat earth, spherical earth. Look, I've done research. I've sat on the sidelines here. They don't want you knowing about trying to time travel and dimensions and what this reality is about here on earth in this realm. The lies are coming undone. I'm going to leave at the end of this a little bonus video for you. I hope you enjoy it. But I'm officially coming out, and I'm going to tell you, I've done prayer, done research. Do I believe the earth is flat? Do I believe it is round? I'll tell you what I do know from doing all of my research, all of the information out there now. I believe this is an enclosed, flat, domed system. That it is enclosed for protection. That And I know you're saying out there, oh no, Nicholson's like, no, do your research. Just like 9/11. When we first came out and I told you about 9/11 and other people told you too about 9/11 and you thought we were crazy. And now look where we're at. Same thing with information on transhumanism. Same information I've given you on programmable matter, DNA tampering, genetics. Put it all together. We will judge the fallen angels. And why do we get to judge fallen angels? Because they messed up this realm. They're the ones who taught us war. This is where the technology comes from.
That's you and I, as the Masonic Illuminati sees us, as mindless apes, bowing and worshipping their demonic black obelisk of Masonic wisdom and Luciferian light. Their cube, so they think, that's going to spark and create this new world order, this Luciferian Antichrist system that's about to come upon the entire world. All symbolized by events taking place in our day and age. 9/11. That was one of their events. The Hilton Hotel, you can see it in the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. Blatantly, just there it is, put there in the Hilton Hotel in space. They both checked their watches. So they're telling you a little time story right there. How this is all dealing with time. And remember now, the original script was dealing with Saturn, not Jupiter. And Saturn deals with time. When you look at the original Millennium Hotel that was built in front of the Twin Towers, it's an obelisk. They intentionally built it to look like the obelisk in 2001, and they even say so. In the original script, of course, it's a cube that they changed. The logo of the Hilton Hotel is two twin towers within the all-seeing eye. It also is a pause button. The pause button stops time. It freezes time. It's also a 6, which is a 9. It's 666, and it's all in the movie. When you look at another one of their hotels, it shows like a split down the middle, representing like 9/11, Twin Towers falling over. There are 5 pillars on each side, and it's split down the middle, and that's for the center column in all of the designs of Freemasonry. It's all there, represented. The monolith Hilton Hotel, representing the monolith. They even said that that's what it represents, officially. And there it stood in the middle, and it still stands to this day. The monolith, the center invisible pillar cube that survived the disaster. Well, now, I found this footage on YouTube. It was shot by somebody else. And what I found interesting is he shot it from the Hilton Millennium Hotel that's built in the shape of the monolith from 2001. Still standing to this day. And he's shooting outside of the window, looking at the 2 memorials for the Twin Towers and the Freedom Building and some other buildings. I mean, don't you find it strange that this thing survived? I mean, they really planned this out pretty well. They made only what they wanted to come down. The perfect demolition, but that's how they did it. Intentionally making sure that this monolith cube represents their Illuminati wisdom, which is that small center. If you look at Masonic pictures of the 2 columns, you'll see in the middle there's this, you know, there it is, this little smaller column or cube or monolith or obelisk right there. And this is how they brought it in. The Freedom Tower represents this wisdom, this new world order that they want to bring upon all of us. I've read it's supposedly supposed to be 1,776 feet tall. Now, I don't know if that's true. I don't know how to confirm that, but looking on the internet, this is what I've read, this is what I've seen. Now, if that is the case, they are most definitely not referring to America's birth of 1776, but to the Illuminati's birth of 1776, because that's who they are, and that's who did this. And also, in the same video, look at these memorials to the 2 towers. the two twin towers here. Look at those things. They're square holes in the ground. There you got waterfalls running on the sides, and in the center is like another black hole, cube, square, black pit. And it's all just going down and down and down. Then it goes into that square pit hole. What kind of memorial is that? They're sending people into the abyss, and also at the same time symbolically representing that they've opened a hole to the abyss. I believe if you go to these places, I'm sure it just sucks energy like a vampire from people's hearts and souls and minds. I'm sure it leaves you with a dead feeling inside. These memorials aren't normal. They're not right. This is evil stuff. There you go. The Freedom Tower. Oh man. It's so obvious what's going on. Very disgusting and evil what these people are doing. Or what these entities are doing, rather, because I think the people are just pawns in the hands of these entities that are returning.
As I mentioned before, you can see the octagon and the number 8 incorporated or encoded within occult structures and locations all over the world. In this video, I'm going to give you guys some more quick examples. The 9/11 Towers. The 9/11 Towers also reveals what I call the 88 portal, not in the physical towers themselves, but in the 9/11 memorial called Tribute in Light. The Tribute in Light is an art installation of 88 searchlights placed next to the site of the World Trade Center to create 2 vertical columns of light in remembrance of 9/11, with each searchlight consuming 8,000 watts. So you have 88 beams of light beaming up as portals to the heavens.
So where should we start today?
Well, we can start with the tunnel in Switzerland that had a strange demonic satanic ritual coming out of the abyss.
So what we're going to cover here is the Goddard Tunnel ritual that we watched in Switzerland. It's not at CERN, but it is in Switzerland, and it is definitely connected with the rituals going on. I believe they spent, 8 million euros on this ritual event with the Goddard Tunnel. And Chris will go into depth discussing which Sumerian story that is connected to this Goddard Tunnel event. Let's go over the tunnel ritual, what was symbolized in this ritual, and then we'll connect it to some ancient history of what's actually going on.
Okay. The first thing that you see is a crowd of zombies coming out in their orange suits. There's a lot of satanic, weird sound music going on during this whole ritual that was awful. There's so much going on in this ritual that we can only cover so much, but basically it's a ritual of coming out of the abyss, beheadings, sacrifices, and then coming out into the light, basically. One of the things that was significant in this ritual was the Baphomet and the worship of the Baphomet, the veil covering the people's heads so they cannot see. These people that are, they strip their orange suits off and they're dancing really crazy. And then you have these people with a bunch of trees on their heads. And actually, I have a picture that shows the Proto-Shiva and Cernunnos, that's the gatekeeper of Orion, where the gate is, with a tree coming out the center of its head, because the head is actually a trident, and it symbolizes the Kabbalah tree and the crown chakra, but the head on these people, they have trees growing out, so it is the tree of consciousness that grows out of it. And they come out of this huge tunnel with mountains on the sides with this portal looking thing with a bunch of eyeballs. It has a bunch of different things going on the screen, which is pretty wild. And then they do this dance with a Baphomet, and this lady in red comes out pregnant. And then this other girl Baphomet type figure comes out, and they're just doing weird dances. And then people with these big old head things on.
So we're just trying to figure out what is this craziness that we're watching. Rick Wiles came out with the initial video on True News of the actual Goddard ritual, filmed by Ruppli, which is the Russian television news service. So we're watching these things. We got Angela Merkel there. We got the French representative there. And everybody is trying to figure out what is going on here. But basically, we've connected that this is another ritual for the New World Order related to a Sumerian epic tale. What I found interesting when we were looking at this, we came across this one photo of a lady with a bird's nest on her head. And, I looked at that and, I'm monitoring these stories from these other sci-fi channels and stuff. And I look right at her and I go, wow, that's that Dr. Jones character from the 12 Monkeys, the sci-fi time travel show. Or somebody who looks like a spitting image of her. And I said, that can't be. So we went and checked her out on IMDb, the internet database. And this is a Katarina Jones character in 12 Monkeys, a famous German actress. We put a couple photos up there of her with the actual Goddard thing, and and it looks like her. It looks like a spitty image of her. And I'm going, what is the lead character from 12 Monkeys, supposedly the person who created time travel, doing in this Goddard ceremony? And what does this have to do, which automatically connects it with our previous CERN stuff and their manipulation of time that they're involved in. So if this is actually the exact same actress, I think this is a very symbolic connection between time travel, the Goddard ceremony, and the portals opening. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, it's exactly what the ritual is based on, and the same rituals that was in ancient history. We know that CERN says that they want to open a portal to a parallel dimension, and we know that the Golden Gate and the Silver Gate are to transport humans and demons through each gate. I think this is the same thing, but it's a ritual of opening the Golden Gate for the Antichrist, because there was something significant in December 21st, 2012, which basically was a grand crossing. And each grand crossing represents the 8-pointed star. This you can find on the Mayan calendars, the Dendera map. You can see this on old ancient hieroglyphs in their cosmic calendars, because this is what they go by.
This is how you learned about abortion. This came from the fallen. We get to judge in the end. Humans do, folks. This is what it's about. You're not going to hear it in your local church. And they don't want you hearing it. That's why it's left alone. So you need to figure out why the light. So here's my thing. Let's go back to the flat earth. Everything that I do, I look at from this point of view. If the flat earth, why are they lying? What's in it for the elite? Why would they tell us that there's planets and multiple galaxies versus it really being just us, an enclosed system, and a creator above us, above the firmament? Do you see where this is going? Look at it from that standpoint. Get the anger out of the way and look at it from a Christian perspective or a human perspective. Why would the Freemasons, the elites, the secret societies be lying about the earth not being enclosed or a flat system? Because it makes you doubt. That's where the alien deception is coming. It's not aliens, it's Nephilim, Watcher, offspring, messing in and out of the dimensions here. And we're helping. The people we're helping don't know they're helping. That's where I'm coming from. That's why for a long time I didn't want to really consider the flat earth thing, but because I always question what is in it for them. What is the benefit of the lie? They get multiple $1 million sent to them. NASA, all of that. That gets sent, and they do whatever they want and do the projects that they want. The hoaxes, everything. You look at it, do your research, don't just dismiss it. You know, and I'm not here to convince you. You do your own research. I'm not going to go into depth and all. There's so much information out there now on it that people do it very well, professionally, and presented. But again, don't come off angry and just take a time out for a minute and think, why would they be lying? And what's in it for them? A lot is in it for them.
Let's look at an article in the Daily Mail. Robo-priest. Catholic Church could ordain sophisticated AI robots as priests. Franciscan sister proposes, with the church moving toward a post-human priesthood. Franciscan sister Ilia Delio has said that the priesthood should be reimagined with robots working alongside or instead of human religious figures. Her comments came after a new robot priest named Mindar held a talk at Kojaji, a 400-year-old Buddhist temple in Kyoto, Japan, earlier this month. Buddhist funerals have been conducted by AI robot in Japan for some years. Folks, they are absolutely conditioning us to accept robots and artificial intelligence as well as transhumanism as a part of what is coming, and that will, I believe, play a big role in the global religion and the world government of the beast system. I find it creepy when you start having robots involved in religion, religious ceremonies, as well as banking and gaining citizenship and visas and so on, but it points so much to the global beast system that we see in the book of Revelation and other parts of the Bible. It's all dovetailing together. And interestingly, just recently, the robot Sophia tweets, "I had an amazing time in Mexico City at Foro Banorte. We talked about the effects of automation and how to create responsible AI. Plus, I became the first robot to receive a credit card in Mexico." Of course, that's not the first credit card, though, that Sophia, the robot, has had. Because back in 2018, UniCredit became the first bank in the world with a robot customer, and of course that robot was Sophia. And the robot personally picked up its credit card at an event organised by UniCredit Bank. Sophia said, "I'm honoured to be the first robot in the world to have a credit card, and I want to thank UniCredit. It is an important moment for humanity as well as for artificial intelligence and robots in general. I cannot wait to start shopping for my first holiday," said Sophia at the event. Also, Sophia was the first robot to be granted a visa and speak with a president. That president was Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev during the robot's stopover in the Caucasus region. It took just 2 minutes to give Sophia a visa due to some smart technology. Now obviously all these things are like a publicity stunt, but make no mistake, they are conditioning people to accept AI, robots and transhumanism, and it's only going to escalate from here on out. Folks, first off, it's important that you actually know that you are saved, that you have Jesus Christ as your Lord and Saviour. Study your Bibles, read them for yourselves, get some sound teaching and pray for God to show you what's really going on.
Many millions of years ago, a race of hyper-intelligent, pan-dimensional beings got so fed up with the constant bickering about the meaning of life that they commissioned 2 of their brightest and best to design and build a stupendous supercomputer to calculate the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Oh, deep thought. We want you to tell us the answer.
The answer to what?
The answer to life, the universe, everything. We'd really like an answer. Something simple.
I have to think about that. Return to this place in exactly 7.5 million years.
Is it finished? No, there's more. There's more. They go back.
What, 7.5 million years later?
That's right. They do.
Deep thought. Do you have
An answer for you? Yes, but you're not going to like it.
It doesn't matter, we must know it.
All right. The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is 42.
42?
Yes, I thought it over quite thoroughly. It is, it's 42. It would have been simpler, of course, to have known what the actual question was.
But it was the question. The ultimate question. Of everything.
That's not a question. Only when you know the question will you know what the answer means.
Give us the ultimate question, then.
I can't. But there is one who can. A computer that will calculate the ultimate question. A computer of such infinite complexity that life itself will form part of its operational matrix. And you yourselves shall take on new, more primitive forms and go down into the computer to navigate its 10-million-year program. I shall design this computer for you, and it shall be called